Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, TV shows, and streaming. Of course, the biggest piece of news on everybody's mind across the world, as we all together remember and honor the career of Thomas Brady. The GOAT of GOAT. He announced his retirement. Funny thing, I know sports ball, but just keep in mind, if you were to randomly pick up any of the past 22 years of Super Bowls, like you just went onto some streaming service and just randomly selected any Super Bowl of the last 22 years, there's a 45.5% probability that Tom Brady is playing in one of them. And there's a 37% chance that Tom Brady won it. Any of the Super Bowls you randomly pick last. Anyway, so that's great. That's all we're going to talk about sports here today. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. Good to see you guys here today, and I'm not alone. Sitting over here is Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing, sir?
John, I have to mention something. One of my favorite actresses of all time, Monica Vitti.
Yes, I read about this.
90-year-old Monica Vitti, who stars in my beloved Ennui trilogy, Antonioni's Ennui trilogy, La Notte, La Ventura, and The Eclipse, passed away at 90. She also starred in Red Desert, Antonioni's first color film. I know this audience probably won't ever watch Antonioni's Ennui trilogy, but if you do, La Notte, La Ventura, and The Eclipse, you'll be puzzling over them for the rest of your life. Rest in peace, Monica Vitti. Boy, do I love you.
And sitting right over here, Chris Carr is here. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I fought the traffic to get here, but we did it.
There was traffic coming here?
Everyone was like, a car crash, let's stare at it, which is just that doesn't help anyone, guys. We can be better.
And sitting right beside her today, as she will be on Wednesdays, Aaron Cummings, and of course, Joey Bishop is here as well.
Yes.
How's Aaron and Joey doing?
Well, we're doing great, and you understand why Joey has her special hoodie on today. I have to say, during the little 15-minute break that we were taking beforehand, we had such a great conversation. I almost wish that was part of the show. We're talking about Sleep No More opening back up in New York City on February 14th at the McKittrick Hotel. We talked about Meow Wolf in Santa Fe and Las Vegas. We talked about all the really cool artistic stuff that you can do getting off your couch and getting some exercise too, as well as the interactive Monet exhibit for a little culture in Montebello. There's lots of things that we can all do in addition to watching television and movies. We were talking about all of them. It's very exciting stuff.
And by the way, just so you know, Ray is here today. He's just not in this room. He's on the other side of the door. Hello, Ray. Ray is there with you guys in the live chat. Ray will be in there with you guys, chatting along with you. And of course, you'll see him back on the show again tomorrow. We got a bunch of things to talk about here today, guys, and here's how today's show is going to go. We break the show up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we take some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we take your live comments and questions if you guys are watching live. However, so many of you had so much to say that we actually had to turn the super chats off before we even started the show today. I turned on the super chats about 15 minutes before we started the show, and then it just filled up completely. So it completely filled up. So all of you guys who sent in super chats, we will get to them at the end of the show. But unfortunately, we cannot take any more because apparently everybody wants to talk about Boba Fett. And I'm going to let you guys know, we are talking about the Book of Boba Fett, episode 6 today. It's going to be our last topic of the day. And I'm going to let you know now, we are going to talk about it in an open spoiler fashion. So we're leaving it till the end of the show. So if you don't want to know what happened in Boba Fett and you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, you can watch the rest of the show. We won't talk about it till the end. But once we do get to the end, we are going to talk about it in an open spoiler fashion. Okay, guys, want to remind you guys also that last night we launched our first episode of Mailbag with me and Robert Meyer Burnett, talking about taking your questions. If you guys want to get a question in on Mailbag, it's really simple. Simply use the tip link that's down in the description of this video. You'll see it down there. Click on it or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your question read on Mailbag if we deem your question appropriate to be used on that show. And of course, you'll be supporting the channel at the same time. And all of us here at the John Campea YouTube channel, thank you guys so much for your support. One last thing, guys, don't forget, if you need your daily fix of the John Campea Show, but you can't be in front of a YouTube video, maybe you're commuting or jogging or at work, good news, there is the audio-only version that we call the John Campea Show podcast. It is there on every podcasting app of choice. Wherever your podcasting app is, go there today, search for it, subscribe to it today, so it'll be there when you need it. And thank you to everybody who's already subscribed to that podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get into some topics here. We're going to start with an off the top. And our off the top is this. You know, it goes without saying that maybe the most anticipated, other than Batman, which obviously is my most anticipated film of the year, maybe the most anticipated film of the year for most people. And I set an over-under of 10.5. How many Academy Awards is this movie destined to win at the Academy Awards this year? Over under 10.5. And of course, that movie is Moonfall. So Moonfall, everybody's waiting for it. Bated breath.
Woo!
Everyone's excited about Moonfall.
I mean, Fellini-esque.
Yes.
Yeah, because last week you guys were going to see Moonfall,
Yes.
and I was so sad that there wasn't an extra ticket.
No,
for
you're
me.
not.
No, I really
there
feel like
is
I
no
missed
regret.
out on the cinematic event of the year with all of my best friends. So
I mean, it would have been fun to make fun of it with you.
I mean,
and
over.
I do love making fun
That
of
would have
things
been fun.
together.
So there's a couple of Moonfall things here for us to talk about, but we're going to start with this one. So, of course, the movie makes its triumphant entry into the cinemas this week. Oh, but wait, not all cinemas. As a matter of fact, there's a very large country to the north of us, my home and native land. True patriot love and all thy sons command, the great nation of Canada, will not be playing Moonfall.
The entire country has.
The entire
What do they have against
we
the
want no
moon?
Moonfall.
has said, we take offense at our great friend the moon. No, it's not going to be playing there. And it wasn't Canada's choice. It was the distributors decided that, you guys know there have been a number of movie theaters that have closed down again in Canada. But they are opening back up now. They're starting to roll. They're opening again. But I guess the distributors, the people who have the distribution rights in Canada, have thought, too risky. We're just not going to open it in Canada. This comes to us from our friends over at Joe Blow, who write the following. In a move that is likely to affect some of the film's box office potential, which it didn't have much, Roland Emmerich's new disastrous film, Moonfall, will not receive a theatrical release in Canada. Distributor Mongrel Media actually announced the decision on Friday, with a spokeswoman saying the choice was made because of the uncertainty over the recent closures of theaters in Canada.
That's
The
a convenient excuse.
Yeah, I know, right? The statement reads, for planning reasons, decisions had to be made while cinemas in Canada were closed. The interesting thing about this decision, Joe Blow notes, is that things are starting to look a bit more certain regarding cinemas in Canada. So, I mean, that's the funny thing. It's not like this was a few weeks ago where the theaters were shutting down. They're actually starting to roll back open, and they decided not to play. And even if there's some theaters still closed in Canada, why would you still not open it there? Now,
Well,
look,
it'll be interesting when we see what movies they do decide to open in
well,
Canada.
I'm betting Jackass is still opening this week.
You know what? This is just another example of someone being ist. I mean, they deplatformed Pluto as a planet. and now Canada
Genuinely
is
still
saying
mad about that.
our moon is a harsh mistress and is not worthy of
It's
being
cancel
shown. in your-
culture, really.
It really is. How can you cancel the moon, man?
Well,
they
clearly-
literally did. They canceled. They're ists. They're what would you call it? Planetists.
Yeah. Well, the moon isn't really
Celestialists,
Yeah.
bodyists.
So they're solarists.
Well, they're not Moonfallists.
spirits.
They're
Yeah,
not moon.
They
Moonfallists.
are definitely
They're
not Moonfallists. So I don't know what my brethren up in Canada are going to do without
You know what? I'm calling
the
Shatner.
glory of what?
Shatner. I'm calling Shatner. You cancel the moon on Shatner's home country? What's that about?
We got to get Shatner and Ryan Reynolds in on this. Say, what? Demand answers. Why do we not get the moonfall to us?
Well, what's really going to happen is this is going to cause an incredible black market for people in Canada so desperate to watch this movie that it's really, I mean, forget about the heroin trade that's going on.
No, you know why? The truckers are going to bring all those bootleg Moonfall copies.
Right.
They're all
The
coming
ship them
back
around the
down.
country.
Ice road truckers are going to risk life and limb to get
Those poor
Moonfall.
drivers.
Hudson's Bay Company will rise.
And bring Moonfall to the people. I mean, so Moonfall, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are one of my fellow Canadians and you're up there and you were waiting anxiously with bated breath for when the moon was going to fall. Halle Berry saving the world. I'm sorry, you're going to have to
Patrick
wait.
Wilson.
Wilson
director
star
of
turn. A man who gives it his all. By the way, Patrick Wilson deserved the MVP player award for his
he
performance
tried
in
so
Moonfall.
hard.
He tried so hard.
Patrick
good.
Wilson is a
Not.
good team player in everything he does. He's a fantastic actor. I might watch it just to see the team player aspect of him trying to cobble this movie together.
It screams team player. Even Halle Berry and they're like team player. We're gonna make the most out of this that we can.
I bet they had a hoot.
I bet they did
They had a
too.
hoot of a time making this
You know
movie.
why? Because when it doesn't matter, you can have a good time. But so yeah, there it happened. So yeah, there it is, guys. Guys, what do you think about this? Are you one of our friends in Canada? Are you one of our friends in the United States wishing you were in Canada? I don't know. Whatever you think about Moonfall not opening in Canada, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your Moonfall-y thoughts. All right, guys.
Moon Follies.
With that, the Moonfall.
A startling
That's
new
a new musical.
documentary
Oh
on
my
Netflix.
God, that's actually brilliant.
Moon Follies.
Moonfall.
The Moon Follies of 2022.
A behind the scenes look at
The falling of Moonfall. Anyway, guys, let's move on to another off the top here. That
Is there any? Come on.
There is, and it's still kind of Moonfall related. And that is this. You know, one of the big trends going on in Hollywood, besides TikToking yourself or releasing sex tapes or whatever, one of the big trends in Hollywood today, especially amongst the upper echelon kind of directors, is blame all of your problems on comic book movies. That's the new trend. That right? It's like, my movie didn't do well. Must be them comic book movies' faults.
They're
How
taking their
exactly?
jobs.
I don't know how, but it's the comic book movies' fault.
Monday, Roland Emmerich's damn Spider-Man No Way Home.
Well,
Damn it.
pretty much. Because the next guy to join his voice to the fray
Oh, no.
is one Roland Emmerich.
No.
Yes.
wow.
Eat shit. Oh my
Roland
god.
Emmerich,
No one could have
I'm
predicted
sorry.
that would
who has come out
happen.
to say, this is the headline over at CBR reading, ID4 creator Roland Emmerich says Marvel, DC, and Star Wars films are ruining the movie industry.
Sounds like Moonfall is ruining the movie
The
industry.
guy who just made Moonfall is complaining about Marvel, DC. Let's read here what's going on here. Independence Day director Roland Emmerich recently claimed that the success of major franchises such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the DCU, and Star Wars have ruined the success has ruined the film industry. In an interview with Den Geek, Emmerich commented that disaster movies have changed since the advent of large event films based on comic book properties. Reflecting on the state of the film industry, the director said, naturally, Marvel and DC Comics and Star Wars have pretty much taken over. It's ruining our industry a little bit because nobody does anything original anymore. Emmerich has previously spoken about his disregard for blockbuster films, noting that he occasionally watched Marvel films to fall asleep on long-distance flights.
Wow.
Now,
This coming from the director of Godzilla.
now let's keep going on. Emmerich continued on to say that his general ambivalence to superhero movies may be due to his German heritage, because Germans don't like superpowers, apparently. His heritage, according to the filmmaker, the idea of superheroes only took root in Germany well after he had grown out of the target audience. Okay, so he's saying that it's not that the German culture, because German culture loves superhero. You look at the box office results for comic book movies in Germany. But he's saying maybe it just didn't take root when he was a kid. Okay,
You
look.
mean the idea of the Ubermensch wasn't something he was familiar with?
Well, I mean, look, that's not what he's talking about. What I'm saying is, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, and look, everybody's entitled to an opinion. I get it, but I've been hearing a lot of people placing the fault of their woes, which is what human beings do.
Yeah.
Right?
Half of America.
Well, all of America. Everybody wants to find a scapegoat for their problems.
Yep.
It goes back to the
Well,
history.
John, we blame Canada.
I mean, blame Canada, as South Park does, right? But it's true. You go back to the beginning. Whenever we have a problem, we never take responsibility for our own problems. We as human beings, I'm guilty of it. Everybody in this room's guilty of it. All of you at home are guilty of this. We try to blame something else or somebody else. And what I've been seeing lately is a lot of people in Hollywood trying to point their fingers and blame their failures on the success of somebody else or of something else. And what I have yet to hear from any of them. You want to say to me, comic book movies are ruining our industry, then I will say to you, tell me how. How? How are people going? Because you know how many people were going back to the movie theaters before Spider-Man No Way Home came out? Less than half, Variety said. Less than half of the regular, occasional, casual moviegoer had started going back to the movies at all since the pandemic. That changed with Spider-Man No Way Home. You want to know why Scream was able to make $30 million? It's because people started going back to theaters because they were going back to see Spider-Man No Way Home. You want to know why some of these other films are like doing well and all that kind of stuff? Is because a lot of them started going back to the theaters because of Spider-Man No Way Home. Somebody else succeeding does not inhibit you from having success. And I'm sorry. Now listen, we've talked here before. We like a lot of Roland Emmerich films. Like there's a number of films. I'm a fan. I mean, obviously he's got some real stinkers, but I'm a fan. I like Roland Emmerich. You want to know what ruins the movie industry? Putting out movies and telling people to come to them and giving them a shit experience. That ruins the movie industry. Mm-hmm. Telling people, come to our movie theaters and have a good time. You're going to enjoy yourself. Bring your date, bring your kids, bring your family. We're going to have fun. And then people set aside their evening. They pay a babysitter maybe. They buy their movie tickets. They get their popcorn. They get their soda. They settle in for 2 hours and have crap thrown in their face. That ruins the movie industry. Somebody else enjoying success and bringing people into the movie theaters does not ruin the movie industry. It is a pathetic victim kind of mentality that says, oh, woe is me. Everybody would love my movies if it wasn't for that damn Batman. Everybody would love my movies if it wasn't for that. And normally I wouldn't care that Roland Emmerich said this because it's like, hey, somebody has an opinion or whatever. But Moonfall is opening this week and he's already in advance pre-making excuses for the failure of his film. And come on, dude, you can make some fun cinema, Roland. Mm-hmm. You can even make some fun we've talked about before, Rob, his Shakespeare movie, Anonymous. I really like his Shakespeare movie. I thought it was really good and showed he had a big wide range and all that kind of stuff. And that's great. But this whole thing of blaming comic book movies or Star Wars movies or DC movies or whatever, blaming them for your failures is not the option. Instead, you should be groveling on your hands and frickin' knees and saying, thank you, Mr. Feige. Thank you, Star Wars. Thank you, DC, for keeping the theaters going and keeping people coming in. Because anybody who's going to go see this, what's that?
Those movies keep thousands of people employed.
Yes, they do. Hundreds of thousands if you add them all together.
You add all the...
and again,
worldwide.
Somebody needs to explain to me how, number one, bringing people into the movie theaters, and then number two, delivering a fun, entertaining experience that people enjoy. Tell me how that's bad for the movie industry.
That people want to watch again and again, because it's not like these are movies that people are going and seeing one time and going, okay, I saw it. I'm, check that off the box. Yeah, some are. Yeah. But a lot of these people are going back again and again and bringing additional people that may not have felt comfortable going to the theater, but going, okay, I'll give it a shot because you loved this movie and you had such a great time. I'll give it a shot. And not only that, but also, what also hurts our entire industry? When people who are part of it show that there is such a division within it.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we all celebrate? There's certain, what? I will never watch the movie Arachnophobia. You all know why. But I'm not saying that movies like Arachnophobia should never be made, because there are a lot of people that want to go see them. And I go, hey, good for you. I'm not going to go see it. However, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have a right to be made. Why? Because, I can have some, thoughts on this show that sometimes make me come off as a twat, because I am, and that's okay. But for the most part, I love this industry and I want to celebrate all the success of everyone. And so I'm like, Roland, what are you doing? We have enough divisiveness in the world when we turn on the news and we go to work, and we see divisiveness everywhere we go. We shouldn't have to see divisiveness in the place that we go to escape and find joy. Why can't you just be thrilled that someone else is doing well? It doesn't take away anything from you at all.
But can I just point out too, the only difference between Moonfall and Justice League or Avengers is that the three people who raced off to save the world from a calamity didn't happen to have superpowers. Roland Emmerich just basically made his wannabe. Moonfall is a wannabe superhero movie. It's giant spectacle, whatever, heroes racing to save the world. The moons are going to crash into the thing. That's basically it. They just can't shoot lasers out of their eyes. That's the only difference.
Well, also, here's the thing about movies are a symptom. They're a reflection of our current state of civilization. And the fact that our civilization right now is looking for escapist entertainment is no different than any other time in Hollywood history. And if you think about the movies, like Monica Vitti was a hero of mine. She passed away at 90. But the movies that she was in the 60s, nobody would watch today. I mean, I watch them. And I'm not saying people wouldn't watch them, but they're never going to burn up the charts. They're never going to have the cultural impact that they had at the time because our world is different. Spectacle and escapist entertainment is something that, especially when it's reliable, let us not forget that the characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe are people that we grew to care about because they were well performed, they were well directed, they were well conceived of, they were well designed, and they were in movies that people really liked. And it represents the pinnacle of Hollywood filmmaking. So what is the problem? You're giving people, to say that it's not cinema is untrue. You're giving people great characters and great stories that are mythic in nature, that go back to the very beginning of storytelling, whether you're talking about the ancient Greeks or Gilgamesh or whatever. It might not be Shakespeare, but in a way, there is a little Shakespearean drama in Captain America, Winter Soldier, or Civil War, or Endgame. I mean, Thanos is a rather Shakespearean character.
By the way, isn't there something true, kind of insensitive? You got a movie Moonfall coming out starring Catwoman and King Orm.
Yeah.
You show some respect.
Very hi, excuse me, and yeah,
and you're shitting on their. Chris, you hear I don't know. What do you make of what Roland's saying?
I don't understand the language being used because to talk about how the blockbuster is the issue. What is Independence Day?
right.
Yeah.
What, Roland? Do you know what movies you make? Have you seen it? I watch that movie every 4th of July, and I do the whole speech.
That's what I call a close encounter.
Why would you poo-poo on the same kind of film genre, essentially, that's really given you your platform? And also, why would you say stuff before your movie's even released? Because if you don't believe in your film, who else is going to? No one's ever going to believe in your career as much as you do.
By the way, he raised that money with China financing all around the world. He raised $138 million. I think he said that's what the movie cost or something like that.
Somewhere around there.
I saw an interview, which means it's an indie film, indie movie. And that's what he gave us. He could have made any movie he wanted. Any independently financed film. He got the Chinese to give him a lot of money to make Moonfall. He made his bed. You'll sleep in it. So all of us soundly. After the moon falls.
The question is for you. What do you think about these comments? Listen, we are not Roland Emmerich haters around here. If you've been watching our show, we like Roland Emmerich.
I'm an easy lay for Roland Emmerich.
I mean, absolutely. But I mean, this is pretty ridiculous things to say about your own. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you make of these comments? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here in the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This is coming in from Josh. Hey, John and crew. Sony just completed its acquisition of Bungie for $3.6 billion. Yes, this will be interesting to see how the company operates moving forward with its games, but do you think this move makes it likely that now, under the PlayStation Studio, that they start working on a Destiny movie? Thanks.
All right, thanks for sending that in, Josh. And listen, there's some moving and shaking going on here because just the other day we talked about how Microsoft bought Activision. They got Blizzard now. World of Warcraft, StarCraft. I mean, the other stuff they got going on, I mean, that's huge. So now Sony, we're in a bit of an arms race now. between Microsoft and Sony. But what may not become clear is that for Sony, this is about more than dominance in the video game industry. This is also about entertainment. They bought for $3.6 billion Bungie, the creators of Halo, Destiny, stuff like that. And so a lot of people are looking at this, and a lot of the analysis I'm reading online really kind of focuses around the notion of the video game arms race. What I don't see a lot of people, except for just a couple of analysts who have picked up on this, is that this is a much broader play by Sony than just video games. This is also about entertainment IP. Because do not forget that not terribly long ago, Sony announced that PlayStation was rolling out its own production studio for movies and television. Let's jump back to, I believe this was in 2019. This is from the Hollywood Reporter back in 2019. With a library of more than 100 original properties ranging from adventures to sci-fi to action to mystery to horror, PlayStation Productions, which by the way, the new Uncharted movie is under the PlayStation Productions banner, has a wide breadth of content ripe for adaptation. Instead of licensing our IP out to studios, we felt the better approach was for us to develop and produce for ourselves, says, I'm not even going to try to say his name. One, because we're more familiar, but also because we know what the PlayStation community loves. Now, that was back in 2019, and you might be asking yourself, well, what does that have to do with right now? With right now, what I think is fairly clear is that them acquiring Bungie was as much about reaping potential movie and television IP and franchises as it was about video games. And you bring up in the question Destiny. That's ripe to be made into some kind of narrative on-screen storytelling. There's a futuristic thing, there's a nomadic thing, there's like mysterious alien orbs thing, there's something called the darkness. What movie doesn't need something called the darkness in it? Anyway,
every movie does. John.
Every movie needs something called the darkness. I can probably count about 7 that do. So I think this was pretty much probably just as much about that as anything else. So a lot of people are saying that Sony buying Bungie was a direct response to Microsoft buying Activision, and I don't think it was.
No.
I think it was kind of on the same lateral, but it was really a different thing. Rob, you take a look at this and you hear about them taking it up. What do you make of it? How do you analyze the situation?
I think you did a good job explaining it. I mean, everybody's consolidating. IP is the name of the game right now as far as entertainment is concerned. And video games are just as valid, if not more, in terms of the money-making potential. I mean, these games are making $1 billion. They might cost a lot of money to make. But then, I mean, how much has Rockstar made off Grand Theft Auto 5? And that game's almost a decade old. And people are still playing it, and they're still promoting it and creating new online components to that game all the time. And a great video game property is worth its weight in gold. And I think that, as you pointed out, John, turning IP like this, there's Halo novels, there's Halo toys, there's now a Halo TV series, there'll be Halo games. I mean, the same is true of any potential IP here, to turn it into many different things. And these game franchises can last for decades. So what they're trying to do, the real question is, will they be able to keep the talent at these companies that create the IPs that they are so desirous of?
Well, it's interesting you asked that, because from what I read in the report, that Sony is saying they're going to allow Bungie to continue to function autonomously. They're going to let them function as their own independent company. Obviously, they're going to have some oversight, but even their board of directors is staying in place, including their CEO and chairman. So it sounds like they're able to keep everybody there.
Yeah, I mean, that's, and Weta too. Weta Digital. Peter Jackson sold off some of Weta Digital to a video game company for $500 million. And so they're keeping these talent pools there because it's all about the talent. It's all about the people. You want to keep them happy. And as long as they're creating games, I mean, another thing about our former topic, the entertainment landscape has changed, and we have a whole generation, multiple generations of kids that have grown up with video games that are just as valid of entertainment as any movie or television show, maybe more so in certain cases. So this is the future they're buying into right now.
Are you saying that the Gen Z centipede was not worthy of a television show? Not the
Man,
Gen Z.
that's a
You'd be
game
Gen
I haven't
X.
thought
The
about in a
Gen
long
X.
time.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot what
you know,
generation I'm in.
I think that if you and I were tasked with coming up with the Centipede TV show,
Oh, I think we could do amazing.
Chris
things with
Carr
that.
would star as the voice of Centipede.
Absolutely.
And then
And it would be a lovable centipede that would have to fight the darkness
Yes.
that
The
occasionally.
darkness. There'd have to be a bad guy called the darkness.
and John and I and you would produce. We'd
course,
hire a crack team of writers. Chris Carr would star as Centipede.
Aw, thanks.
And of course, we'd have a
Obviously.
mirth-filled bunch of characters.
Ray would have to play someone. We'd have.
Oh yeah,
Ray would be
Centipede's
Centipede's
unrequited.
sidekick.
Centipede would be Ray's unrequited love.
What is it? What is it? It's trying to go in and out of. It's coming down. Is it? I can't remember. Is it mushrooms?
Yeah.
Ray can be a mushroom. The omnipotent talking mushroom. What's up? I'm
You
just
know,
here for the hot dogs.
I
And
do.
you know, mushrooms are trying to blockade Centipede, so the blockade would be illegal.
Not that I'm not thoroughly enjoying this, but I do want to get back to what you were saying, Rob.
Rob, it's Rob.
What I'm sorry.
Okay.
Hi, I know we just met. What is anyway, like Roger was saying, I think that we should there's so much IP here, and as we've seen with what's happened with comic books and graphic novels, all of a sudden a few people went, "Hey, wow, people are actually watching these movies. Maybe we should see what other comic books there are and we should explore some of those ideas." I don't think that a lot of the video game movies in the past have been as successful as they could have been.
They've all been shit.
Right.
Let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah. Because it really takes, like you were saying, it takes that talent to take the IP and really see it in a different way that will pay an homage to the original source material without having to stay so close to it that it doesn't translate properly.
Yep.
And the problem with video games is that they were never meant to be told in a narrative form. Well, unlike comic books, which have canon and have a strong fan base that is going to expect it to be as close to canon as possible, there is some creative license, some creative freedom. And what's going to come from this is I think we're going to see some younger Kevin Feige's that are coming up. I mean, maybe the next Kevin Feige is watching this show right now and is going to be someone who is going to revolutionize the video game to film industry. I was talking to Tom last night about this very question, and as soon as I said the possibility of Destiny being a show or movie, his eyes popped out of his head. He got so excited. He said, "I remember when like the three big games were Red Dead Redemption and GTA 5, and he goes, I ran to Blockbuster Video and I rented Destiny for 3 days and I played it for 8 hours straight, and I returned the video game because I said I'll never get anything done." He said it's such a great game, people will love playing it. And I really think that especially because there's so much you can do creatively. There's a big whole world, and I think in the next 15 years we're going to see a lot of things change.
Yep.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this purchase? And what do you think the implications are? Was it strictly a video game move? Do you think this is actually a movie-related move? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Chris, what is our second main topic today?
Topic 2 is from Dan Skip Allen. I'm a huge fan of The Godfather, and it's my top 2 movie of all time. I've heard the tumultuous story of how this film was made in various commentaries and interviews with director Francis Ford Coppola. Now, this true story has come to life as a miniseries on Paramount+. The teaser of the offer has dropped online. Have you seen it, and what do you think of it? Thanks, and keep up the great work.
I mean, we were buzzing about this when they announced a while ago that they were making this thing, the offer, about what went into the making of The Godfather. And I'll be honest, while I have heard a couple of stories, I don't really know a lot. I mean, I know more about what went into making Apocalypse Now, because there's been a million different things about that. But I didn't know a lot about what went into making The Godfather. I mean, almost everything I've ever read about The Godfather is about the movie itself, not really so much about what happened behind the scenes or what went into getting it made and all that kind of stuff. So when they announced this, I thought it was intriguing. You guys know that I think Miles Teller is a drastically underrated performer. I know everybody's, well, he was in Fantastic Four. It doesn't matter what you think. The dude is amazing. He's a really great
Whiplash,
actor.
dude.
Listen, J.K. Rowling, J.K. Simmons, what he said, I don't win my Academy Award for that movie if it wasn't for Miles Teller. Like, and he was so good in that, but he always brings everything. I can't remember the name of it, but he was in this one firefighter movie with James Brolin that I can't remember where it was based on a true story about these.
That Joe Kosinski directed, right?
Yes, as a matter of fact. So the guy's really, really good. So when I heard he was going to be in this, and Fogler, I think, was going to be playing Coppola,
Who looks amazing as
who
Coppola.
looks great in this. I remember I am fascinated by this. And that first teaser came out, and it was everything I was hoping it would be. This comes from the folks over at IndieWire who write the following. The 1972 mob drama The Godfather infamously had a tense production, with Tolkien telling Vanity Fair that adapting the true story was a no-brainer. What sealed it for me was when Al Rudy said, "Every day of making The Godfather was the worst day in my life." And that told me we had a show. Tolan said, "For every character in the film, getting it made or stopping it from being made was at the core of their actions, and it was a matter of life and death to them. Plus, the mob ties only fueled the clash." Toscano added, "At the beginning of our story, we come to learn that the mafia has a very active interest in making sure that The Godfather never got made." And there's so much behind all of this that is just delicious. Anyway, I saw the trailer for this. I was interested. Now I'm excited. I'm excited to watch this thing, and I thought it was great. Rob, you had a chance to check out the show. I know you've been excited for this project. What do you think of it?
First of all, Godfather is probably my favorite movie of all time. And Michael Tolkien, who's the showrunner, the producer, is a fantastic novelist in regards to covering Hollywood. I believe he wrote the novel The Player. So him running the show on this show about this story, to me, is very exciting. And I think it looks fantastic. I mean, there's the story, I want to say that Frank Sinatra met Mario Puzo at, what's the Hollywood restaurant? It's still there now.
The Dresden?
No.
Formosa Cafe?
No, it's the one on Santa Monica Boulevard.
No. It's
the
like,
Italian place.
not the Brown Derby, but I forget. You'll know what it is. And when Frank Sinatra found out Mario Puzo wrote The Godfather, like they got in a fight. It was not Nate Now's, and so that's one of the stories that this show starts with, and like he decked him, he clocked him or something, and then Coppola, of course, wanted to hire Al Pacino, and they didn't want him, they wanted to fire him, and you've got Robert Evans. I mean, I can't wait to see this. I think Matthew Good plays Robert Evans.
He does.
I mean, Matthew Good, Ozymandias, who, by the way, was an
incredible.
amazing in my boy Tom Ford's first film, A Single Man.
Oh,
I love Matthew Good. Anyway,
The rest of
I
this
can't wait,
cast
John.
is so good.
Chris, you had a chance. So you're seeing this. You had a chance to watch the trailer. Did it appeal to you? Do you think this works? Did it raise the needle for you on this? What are you thinking?
I'm very excited about this one because I do think this is a really interesting story. But bouncing off of Rob here, I love this cast so much. We've got Matthew Good, we've got Juno Temple, we've got Colin Hanks, we've got Bern Gorman, we've got Giovanni Ribisi. Like, come on, this is gonna be great. Well, I hope it's gonna be great. I have very high hopes, but I think it's gonna be a really, really good telling of this.
Aaron, you had a chance to see the trailer. I mean, this might be, I think it's fair to say, maybe the most iconic Hollywood film. I mean, like The Godfather. Amongst a lot of cinephiles, the only argument about greatest film ever made is it Godfather 1 or is it Godfather 2? So this is Hollywood history right here. What did you make of this trailer?
Well, I've been excited for this for a long time for a couple reasons. Number one, I actually helped put a friend on tape for his audition for this show.
Really?
I did. So
That's cool.
And just his small part that he auditioned for was hilarious, and just so authentic to the time and the people that were involved, from what I know of it. And then also the Toscano name that you read in that blurb is Nikki Toscano, the co-showrunner, who was a writer on the first series that I did for ABC, Detroit 187. And I actually was talking to Nikki a couple months ago, and she was like, yeah, I'm working on this show. It's about the Godfather making, and she was really excited about it. She's a phenomenal writer and has been in the business for a very long time. So just the fact that Nikki Toscano is connected to it, I was already excited about it. But also, like, as you said, Rob, there's so many crazy stories. Like, the studio did not want to hire Marlon Brando. So they were going to make him screen test, number one, and then they were going to make him work for free, and then he was going to have to pay the bond that was required because of his notorious bad behavior.
Yeah.
So Coppola tricked him into doing a screen test by telling him it was a makeup test and that he already got the job. And his makeup test / screen test was so good that the studio let go of the other two things and said, okay, well, never mind. You know, and even the iconic, the strings, the graphic of the strings, the studio didn't want that. And, you know, this is a classic situation of a studio and a director just not making the same movie. Coppola wanted to be a period piece. The studio said, no, we've got to make this modern, make it 1972, everything modern. Coppola said, no, it can't be. And similarly, like in Forrest Gump, the studio didn't like the accent that Tom Hanks was doing and said, you can't do that. And Tom Hanks had to put his own money in to continue getting the movie made. A lot of times studios, because they're the ones funding it. They have a lot of input. And sometimes someone's input is right. And sometimes someone's input just stinks. And it sounds like this was a constant, conflict between Coppola, who thankfully really knew what his vision was going to be and stuck to it, and the studio, which just I has seemed to reap the benefits of Coppola sticking to his guns, and we're all the better for it because he did.
It's funny because every year we go to the John Williams concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and a couple of times they've done The Godfather, because he'll also play some scores from other movies.
Yeah. Did they do that this year? I feel like they did.
I think they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Because what'll happen is they'll finish one piece, and everybody applauds and goes crazy, and then the noise dies down, and there's no lights on, and then you'll just hear that one horn. And like you instantly know what it is. Then everybody gets excited. Anyway, guys, the question is for you at home. What did you think about the trailer for The Offer? I mean, like I said before, I was interested. I'm now excited. Did it work for you? Maybe you've never even seen The Godfather. If you haven't, what are you doing? What kind of choices are you making in your life? Get on that. Go watch it. Anyway, whatever you guys are thinking, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, we're now going to move on to main topic number 3. But before we do, guys, let's take a second, pay some bills, and thank the good folks who are sponsoring today's show, the folks over at Stamps.com. Hey, guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of today's episode, Stamps.com. Now, you know Stamps.com. They've been supporting the John Campea Show for a while here. Now, let's face it. Going to the post office is time-consuming and really not the way you want to be spending your time. And that's why I highly recommend you do your mailing and shipping online with Stamps.com. Stamps.com allows you to mail and ship anytime, anywhere, right from your computer. You can send letters, ship packages, and you can pay a lot less with discounted rates from UPS, USPS, and more. And see, that's why Stamps.com is a must-have for any business. Whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller shipping out your orders, whether you're somebody who's just trying to send things out to your friends and family, or if you're a giant warehouse like sending out thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can handle all of it with absolute ease. And here's the best thing. With Stamps.com, you get up to 40% off of post office rates and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. And this is why Stamps.com is an absolute no-brainer. It saves you time, it saves you money. It's no wonder that nearly 1 million small businesses already use Stamps.com. So stop wasting your time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. And with my promo code Campea, just go up to that microphone up in the corner, click on that and enter my code Campea. You get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale, no long-term commitments or contracts needed. Again, just go to Stamps.com, click on that microphone at the top, and enter the promo code Campea. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. All right, once again, guys, thank you to the folks over at Stamps.com for supporting the show. Make sure you guys go and take advantage of that, and make sure you use that promo code Campea, because that not only supports our sponsor, it also supports the show. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move into main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Okay, this is where we're going to get into spoiler territory, everybody.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, so we said, we warned you at the beginning of the show that when we talk about Boba Fett, we will be talking about it in an open format. So if you haven't seen Book of Boba Fett or you're a little bit sensitive to that, now's the time for you to kind of move away. But we are going to talk about the episode, so just so you know. Thanks for reminding me about that, Chris.
No problem.
Please continue.
I know how people can get. It's fine. Watching out for you guys. This is from Austin. John, as a big Boba Fett fan who's been waiting for years for a show or movie about him, I was left a little bit upset after last night's episode. In the last 2 episodes, we got Fett in a non-talking role for about 5 seconds, with all the best moments going to other characters. We now have 1 episode left with a lot to tie up. It's starting to feel like a slap in the face for Fett fans. Am I being overdramatic?
All right. Thanks for sending that in. Now, of course, Book of Boba Fett leading up until last week has been a little disappointing. There were a couple of episodes I liked. There were a couple episodes I did not like. But overall, I think underwhelmed kind of sums up the majority of most people who have been watching the show. Then came episode 5, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, called The Return of the Mandalorian. And that episode was awesome. Like, it was great. And it's not just because, oh, Mando's there. No, it's because he was there, but then they told a great story with the character there. And it was wonderful, a lot of fun. And then going in, we talked on the show yesterday, Rob, about, are they going to show Grogu tonight? I thought they would, and sure enough, they did. But we were talking about, can they follow that up? Are we going to go right back to the mediocre show we've had so far, or are they going to keep that momentum going? They kept the momentum going. It was a good show last night that had, ironically enough, that we were just talking about, I mentioned this on Twitter last night, that had Godfather overtones. My God, that ending, the guys just walk into a club carrying a briefcase, casually walk out, and then she realizes last second what's happening. And it's like, that was like truly, that was they're sending a message. You're going to be sleeping with the fishes.
Dude, I didn't think Flash Dance would go Flash Bang last
She
night.
might have survived. She might have survived. Never know.
No, if anyone survived, I'm done.
I mean, I think
That's a big bang.
It was a big bang. Big bang. No doubt. But, I mean, there are survivors sometimes. I don't know. Maybe there will be, maybe there won't. But that whole thing was great. I think the number one thing we can say, of course, their deepfake digital skills have gone up 100-fold, because whereas Luke looked very questionable at the end of Mandalorian season 2, looked pretty damn good.
And that in broad daylight.
Yeah.
Too. They weren't
well
hiding
lit.
that.
They weren't hiding him. There was actually, I mean, it was still a little bit stationary, but still they did a great job with that. But it feels like, and we said this last week, that with Mandalorian coming in, it felt like they are putting now the pieces in place for how this show's going to end. Mandalorian, we had to know how he got there. I think Grogu shows up in the final episode of Boba Fett, but this episode was required for us to know how and why he shows up there. So getting a little taste of that, getting to see the beginning stages of putting together a new Jedi Academy and all that kind of stuff, that was all good. But at the heart was the story of Grogu and what ultimately is going to bring him back there. And then him having his little Gimli, the chainmail, which
His mithril.
mithril chainmail, which was so cute. Even a little diaper end on the bottom of it.
So precious.
It was great, but it told the story. I'll be honest with you. Like, I feel like sometimes we as audiences are just like, ooh, shiny keys. Like, it's like, ooh, a cameo. Yay, this is wonderful. But I mean, this actually told a great story. And it was a building block to what's coming up next. Now, I am flabbergasted that there's only one episode left, because I do not feel like they're going to be able to wrap this up satisfactorily.
It feels like this is just the beginning of the story.
It felt like last night's episode. It felt like the last 2 episodes are what's supposed to set up the show. This should have been in the first 3 episodes of the season. That being said, the one thing I thought that left me rolling my eyes a bit was the episode was a little bit of member berries, because
A little bit.
like, honestly, let's face it, there was, although I will take any excuse. I will take any excuse to see Rosario Dawson. Any excuse to see Rosario Dawson. And I loved her as Ahsoka. There was no need for her to be in that episode.
I disagree.
Narratively, there was no purpose. Like, and everything she told Mando, Luke could have told Mando. And then, as soon as that's done, she goes, okay, I'm splitting, bye. It's like, so she's
Will I ever see you again?
Yeah, like she was, so really these are conversations they never had before. It's just like, oh, I'm here for this. This is done. Now I'm gone. And by the way, narratively, it didn't need to be Ahsoka Tano doing it. Any other character could have said to him what he said, particularly Luke. That being said, I will still take any excuse I can get to see some Rosario Dawson. And then you had the appearance of Cad Bane. Now, as soon as you saw that silhouette, we were watching it last night, me, Ray, Ryan, and as soon as you saw that silhouette out in the desert, but again, apparently in Tatooine, everybody walks everywhere.
Yeah.
Because everything's within a 5-minute walk. Everything's within a 5-minute walk. I mean,
They're getting their steps in.
they got to get their seat. They got
He's got
the
his
health
Fitbit
counter
on.
going on there. So Cad Bane shows up, and that could have gone badly. They could have made him come across as a cartoon character. They could have made him like but
looked
instead
so
he came
good.
across as serious. He came across as menacing, and he felt like delivering a message from the mob. Godfather-esque is what it felt like to me. And then, of course, you get, your good, the bad, and the ugly, the shootout and all that kind of stuff. And that was great. And Cobb Vanth survived. He survived. He was still breathing at the end. But that was a wonderful way to introduce a character. Because again, it could have just been member berries. Look, everybody, it's Cad Bane. Ooh, see how cool his hat is? But instead, they actually gave him weight.
And that was a great performance.
Oh, yeah.
The snarling of the teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, the teeth were so.
Of course, you know what I was thinking?
What were you thinking?
Hot toy.
Oh, of course you were thinking hot.
I'm like, they're going to make a Cad Bane hot toy. Woo-hoo.
But it does. We would be remiss if we did not bring up something. And I'm going to see if I can pull this up. I should have had this here, but I had to put this up. As Dr. Malcolm would say, hello, we are going to see some Boba Fett at some point in this Boba Fett show, yes? Like, the last 2 episodes, John, he was in the castle. Yeah, I know. He was literally on screen for about 20 seconds. I was okay with that, but we're now 6 episodes in. 1/3 of this show, 1/3 of the episodes of this series so far have not had Boba Fett, essentially. Now,
Which is odd.
It was, I was defending the show last week. People say, it didn't even have Boba Fett in it. I'm like, hey, listen, it's just one chapter, he's not there. But then they did another entire one where he's basically not in it.
I honestly don't understand. I think this is a total missed opportunity, to be honest. They should have been running Mandalorian Season 3 and Book of Boba Fett concurrently and then intertwined them as one long story. And I do feel, because the original question that our viewer asked was about, as a Boba Fett fan, do you feel cheated? And I would say that ultimately, I think the Boba Fett show that we saw was kind of all over the place. I mean, it was fun to watch and all that, but it was like the Pike Syndicate, even the threat of the Pikes should have been established from the very beginning of the show. And even that came in farther down the road. And so, and now it's, why does anybody care who controls Mos Espa? Like, why? I still don't know. Like, leave.
Yeah.
Don't you people have better things to do? Go take back Mandalore.
Because the spice must flow, Rob. The
Well,
spice must flow.
After
Spice
this
is a big deal.
episode, though, I don't care about the Pike Syndicate at all.
No.
What I want is to know about if Boba has any knowledge of Cad because Jango mentored him. Like, that's what I'm interested in now. Is just, are we going to touch on that? Of like, your daddy trained me? Like, are we going to talk about his daddy issues? I'd watch that show.
Well, yeah, I know. And that's the thing. They keep introducing, like, think about it. We see Cad Bane for the first time. Cobb Vanth comes back. Ahsoka, Luke, R2-D2, and Grogu. There's 6 characters that really aren't part of Boba Fett's story as of now. It's bizarre to me that you're going to bring in all these characters in the penultimate episode of the series.
You
Or
know
at least
how-
the
Feels
first
like it
season.
should have been the beginning of season 2.
Well,
If you're going to introduce all of these
That
extra
brings up a question I
characters.
want to ask you. Tell me if you agree with this. I think a lot of the, and last night's episode was great, but this awkwardness that we're talking about is like all this random stuff, and there's only one episode left, and where are they going with this? Would this episode have felt a lot less awkward to you if today we knew that the Book of Boba Fett was actually a 12 episode season?
Absolutely.
Like if we knew there was still like 5 more episodes to come, would that feel
100%.
different?
Yeah.
But even that the show's called, I mean, you know, it's a point of view thing. Suddenly on this show, we are watching Luke training Grogu. What does that have to do with what we've been watching? I mean, I understand it's cool and the effects technology is amazing and hearing Mark Hamill's voice and all that. But honestly, that would be like the fact that we know who Grogu and Luke are. What does that have to do with the narrative that we're following? This is a Mandalorian narrative that's been carried over, but now the whole focus, we're more interested in where Grogu. This episode ends with a choice, which the lone wolf and cub moment. It literally was lone wolf and cub. You either pick the sword or you pick the ball. In this case, it's mithril or you take the lightsaber. It was right out of that. But the question I have to ask is that question. What does that have to do with Boba Fett? This episode ends on a question that has nothing at all to do, unless, you know, he shows up to wreck shop with his lightsaber.
But that's the thing. I think the point of last week's episode with Mando and the point of this week's episode with Baby Yoda is that you have to give background and context. You can't just have them showing up on Tatooine, right?
Of course not, but
again, that's why if this was a 12-episode season, it would have felt more natural.
yeah, it's just, why is it called Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
It's called Book of Boba Fett because it's not just about Boba Fett. Otherwise, it would be called Boba Fett, the story.
I
or
guess
the
so.
story.
Is the Book of Boba Fett not the story of Boba Fett?
No, The Mandalorian is about the Mandalorian. The Book of Boba Fett is telling in many, many chapters. And I'm just going to point something out, okay? So the first 4 episodes, I listened to the two of you. I don't like this. I'm bored. That's not
We didn't say that about episode 2.
you got. I sat here.
No,
and
that's
listened-
what we were saying about you. Just to,
That's what you say on camera. So I was like, I'm not going to watch this show because Rob and John, the two people that I come to for all of my like nerd advice, you guys are the ones you don't like. And I said to Tom, I said, we're not watching this show because the first 4 episodes are no good. Nobody likes it. We're not going to waste our time. We're going to continue
We're not the
watching
only
those
ones that are
Right.
have
You're
criticism.
right. You're right. So last week, I'm the asshole that was on camera yawning. By the way, I have a newborn and being thoroughly disinterested in the conversation. But the reason I was thoroughly disinterested was because all of a sudden everybody's excited about Boba Fett. And I'm like, la, 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 la. I'm not listening. I don't hear any of this because now I realize, oh crap, the show's really good. I got to watch it. So when it was just about Boba Fett, the two of you guys were like, oh my God, this show sucks. Then it's not just about Boba Fett.
didn't
And you're
quite
like,
say
yay,
that,
we love it.
though.
Now, what?
We didn't say it sucked.
no, we said it's
Right,
it's
but
2
like,
episodes we
you're-
liked, 2 episodes we didn't, but it's kind of disappointing.
I have to say, and this may be controversial, Tom and I thoroughly loved the first 4 episodes and thought that it was actually a better series opening than the series opening of Mandalorian. I felt it was very Dances with Wolves. I loved it. I cried when he returned to see the Tuscans. I was very, it really hit
good.
me. So I binged the show this whole week, and I really believe that, yes, you're right, a 12 episode season would make a lot of this make more sense. And they're really trying to tell a whole lot of stories. I'm okay with it not being the Boba Fett episode every single week in and week out. I'm excited to see how they're going to wrap it all together. I do think that, yes, they brought in a lot of superfluous characters as, R2-D2, ooh, shiny thing from the past. We like that. Rosario Dawson's exposition dialogue, which is clearly what that was. You're right. It could have been... it could have been Luke, but that would have cost a lot more money in post-production. Let's be real. That was a lot of dialogue, and getting that mouth to move would have been really expensive. Rosario Dawson probably, requires a lot of money for her payday, but not as much as post-production on making a young Mark Hamill say all that exposition. That's what I have to say about that.
Well, I mean, again, so this raises the question, though. There's only 1 episode left, and honestly, I feel like the show, and I don't say this in a way as, oh, this is so good, I don't want it to end. I mean in the way of, I feel like the show just started.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this was all, the last 2 episodes were the setup. We have, what does Ray call him? Pajama Fett, or whatever the Ray refers to him as. The onesie bouncy outfit, onesie Fett, is that what he calls him? So we got the setup for Boba coming out of the desert and stuff like that, which they took too many episodes to tell that story, but still, coming out of the desert, taking Jabba's throne. Then the setup of the Mandalorian, what brings him to Tatooine. Now the setup of Grogu, what's going to be bringing him back in, what face that in. This all feels like it should have been done in the first 3 episodes, and we're just at the start. I have no idea, because you were just talking about the Pike Syndicate, Chris, about how, I don't care. Yeah, them planting that suitcase bomb was the first relevant thing they've done in this series.
Right. I mean, like,
and we're going into the finale, and I'm supposed to care?
and why are they doing that?
Exactly.
Why did the Pike Syndicate blow up a nightclub?
Send a message to Boba Fett because they know Boba Fett likes her.
Well, I mean,
Very Godfather-ian.
But that's not. I mean, the people who die in Godfather deserve it. Whereas here's basically a neutral. I mean, it's not like Boba Fett goes in there and what, because he gets his helmet polished there, and I mean that literally. It's not a figurative.
Double entendre.
Literally.
It is No Pants Wednesday.
I mean,
Would you like us to
come on.
polish your helmets?
I mean, it's.
I mean, they do get like the 2 hottest models
That's
in the
true.
entire club.
Without a shirt on, saying, "Would you like me to polish your helmet, Your Honor? What was I supposed to think?"
Right, exactly.
I did not have sex with that Twi'lek. I mean, it doesn't. I still don't understand what do the Pikes want?
Yeah.
They want spice.
But
They want to be
drug
able to run
trade.
their spice wherever they want to run it.
I
And they don't
understand,
want,
but why so well, I guess they went after Cobb Vanth, but that nightclub, I'm sure everybody's dealing spice in there.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a place people would sell
I mean,
spice
that-
at?
you would
I'm no
think that-
mafioso or anything, but I feel like if you want to sell drugs, you should probably keep some people alive to do it.
Well, I am a
and
drug
at-
dealer,
at
and
a
I can tell
nightclub.
you this: nightclubs are the #1 spot. If you want to score
Yeah.
on spice,
I mean, I want to get some fatty rails for that back room back there, and I'm going to get Jennifer Beals to hook me up.
Right?
I'll
Yeah.
blow her
Or a
up.
giant sandworm to come up out of the ground and
If I
starts
wanted
being
a
some
butthole
very-
monster.
very
I just want to
Doomian.
vibe to Max Rebo. I'm going to do a bunch of spice.
What do
And
you
be
think?
like,
What do you
"Play
think
it
they do between
again."
sets, man?
but also,
Yeah.
how do we know? Like, how do people actually take the spice? Do they snort it? Are they like cooking it and injecting it? Do we know how this is actually?
I think they do all of those things. You know, because I know that
maybe
if you
make it in pill form.
crack spice is really potent.
Oh, right, yeah,
You know.
and cheap.
There's glass
Enema.
spice. No, I don't know.
An enema.
Spice enema.
Oh, God.
Hey man, you gotta do it's
Hey,
it's a
you
desert
gotta get it
world.
where you gotta get it.
It's a
Hey, it
Yeah.
tough
goes
world. You
right
gotta
into your
take-
bloodstream.
Goes right in there, instantly
Yep.
effective. So I mean, I don't know. And are they setting us up? Because we talked a while ago about this is going to be a Avengers Assemble moment. We're going to start to see all these people come together. So I guess the one question then I'm going to ask is, with the rumors we talked about a while ago that we could see. By the way, I'll tell you about this. Something I got wrong. But could we see a Harrison Ford pop up in the end? Because I'll tell you what, remember when they cut back and you see Cobb Vanth's deputy, right? So you see Mando coming in, landing a ship, and there's the close-up of the guy hanging out on the deck, and that goes in on that. I thought that was... why am I forgetting?
Alden Ehrenreich.
Oh, I thought it was Alden Ehrenreich for a second. Come on, help back me up, guys. I couldn't have been the only one that just for a second thought that might have been Alden
I
Ehrenreich.
actually thought it was the character from Shadows of the Empire. You know, was it Kyle Katarn? Is it Kyle Katarn?
Oh yeah.
I was like, is that who that is?
I totally thought it was Alden Ehrenreich. I thought, oh my god, and I even said, I said, oh my god, it's him. And Ray and Ryan were both like, who? I'm like, oh no, it's not. But I don't know. Do you think we're gonna see Harrison Ford at the end? Like with all them bringing all these big names and everything together?
I don't see it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I still think it's possible.
And not because it wouldn't fit with the story. I just don't think Harrison Ford wants to.
Yeah.
I mean, like Mark Hamill has been such a beautiful, like I feel like he really keeps that original torch burning, you know, as far as from the original cast of always showing up, you know, continuing to be like, I love this project. This changed my life. This is the thing that I'm totally happy if someone remembers me from and recognizes,
Yeah.
even though he's done so many other things in his
Corvette Summer.
life.
Oh,
Corvette,
yeah,
which I
Corvette
own on
Summer,
Blu-ray.
yeah.
Of course you do.
Wait, what movie are you saying?
Corvette Summer, 1978. Annie Potts.
Well, I love Annie Potts.
She
I will have to check it out. But yeah, I know, I see, it makes sense that Mark Hamill would come back and do this. I don't know if Harrison
See, I
Ford
always
is-
thought that too, but I will say he surprised a lot of us when he came back for The Rise of Skywalker, because we thought when he did his part in the Force Awakens, dying off that terribly unsafe bridge with no handrails, we thought, okay, that's it, he's done. But then he surprised us and he popped back up again. And then, so I don't know, maybe I agree with Aaron. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is a possibility. Of course, now we can just focus on the fact that there's a new episode of Peacemaker tonight.
Game day.
Very game day for Peacemaker. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about last night's episode of The Mandalorian? I'm sorry, about the Book of Boba Fett. Did you like it, not like it, or are you like the person who wrote in the original question, kind of bummed out that you got a show called The Book of Boba Fett and we've had 1/3 of the episodes without Boba Fett? Do you think it feels weird that next week is just one episode left? Like there's really probably about 45 minutes left in the series to wrap everything up. I don't know. Maybe they got something really big planned. Whatever you guys are thinking about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, and before we run into our live questions that you guys have, I thought we would take a second here because we haven't done it in about a week or so.
Uh-oh.
We're going to play a little game of over under,
Love it.
which of course Erin is undefeated at right now. She's played one match. She is undefeated. And I'll tell you what is at stake. We're going to pick one person a little bit. The winner of today's over under is going to get to pick one person who sent in a question. And then whoever they pick, you're going to get this brand new Robert Pattinson Batman pop that's saying we'll have everybody in the studio autograph it. So, it'll be myself, Rob, Aaron, Chris. We'll even get Ray to sign it, and we'll send that off. The winner of today's over-under, guess again. Here's how over-under works. I'm going to lay out a situation. I'm going to ask our contestants if they think it's over or under. I'm going to say you need to answer in 3, 2, 1. Then you just put out your hand towards your camera with a thumbs up, meaning over, or a thumbs down, meaning under. Are we all clear on the rules?
We are clear.
All right.
Clear.
With that down, let's get into our first question. And everybody watching at home, you participate in the live chat as well. Let people know if you knew what we're talking about. Okay. Question number 1 we have, and over under today is this. The number of acting, let me go over this one. The number of acting Emmy nominations that Peter Dinklage has, over or under 7.5. The number of acting Emmy nominations that Peter Dinklage has, over or under 7.5. Answer in 3, 2, 1. All of you guys are saying under. The answer is over. He's been nominated 8 times, all 8 times for Game of Thrones, and he won the award 4 times.
How many seasons was Game of Thrones on?
8.
8. He was nominated all 8 seasons. So there is question number 2. The worldwide box office total for The Godfather. We were just talking about The Godfather. Worldwide box office total for The Godfather. Over or under $230 million. Over or under $230 million for the worldwide box office total The Godfather. And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we got all 3 of you are saying over. Okay, and the answer is over. The Godfather has made $246 million. So we are still all tied up. Okay, let's get into the next question then here. Our next one is question number 3. The number of Independent Spirit Award nominations Robert Pattinson has. The number of Independent Spirit Award nominations that Robert Pattinson, our upcoming Batman, has. Of course, this Batman right here. Over or under 1.5. Over or under 1.5. And your answers in 3, 2, 1. We got 2 overs, 1 under from Aaron. And the answer is over.
Damn it.
He has 2 nominations. He has a nomination for The Lighthouse and a nomination for his movie Good Time.
I was thinking it was a trick question because he's such a good actor in so many independent films that why would you ask that question unless it was less? That
So we've
robbed.
got Rob and Chris in the lead by 1. Aaron trails by 1. We still have 3 questions to go. All right. Third question. Knowing that Game of Thrones cost an estimated $15 million per episode, and that Marvel's Disney Plus shows are the most expensive shows of all time at $25 million per episode, what is the cost per episode of the upcoming Lord of the Rings Amazon TV series? Over or under $55.5 million per episode? Once again, knowing that Game of Thrones costs an estimated $15 million per episode and Marvel's Disney Plus shows are the most expensive shows of all time per episode at $25 million per episode, what is the cost per episode of the upcoming Lord of the Rings Amazon TV series? Over or under $55.5 million per episode? Your answer's in 3, 2, 1. Okay, Rob says over. Chris and Aaron say under. And our answer is over.
Oh my God.
The show's 8 episode first season will cost an estimated $58.1 million per episode. By far the most single expensive television show in history. That's not even counting the rights they had, the money they had to spend on the rights to get stuff like that.
Some of that has to be amortized
It's a
across.
production budget.
Oh, okay.
No.
The production budget of $468 million.
What are they serving for lunch? Can you imagine the craft services
They've
on
got
a
to
budget?
do at least 11 meals. So
How
Get
many,
it?
how
Get
many
it?
breakfasts?
All right, let's move
Wow.
on. So who got that one right? Rob
I
got
did.
that
Rob
one.
did.
So
Rob
Rob
is
is in the lead by 1. Chris is behind him by 1, and Aaron
down
is behind
2.
Rob by
I
2.
don't
But we
think
still
this
have
is
2
gonna be my
questions
day.
to go.
Okay.
Okay. So no, we still have 3 questions to go. Which one was that? Okay, that was that one. All right, next up, we've got, in the original Star Wars, how many Rebel ships attacked the Death Star at the end? This is my favorite Star Wars trivia question. In the original Star Wars, how many rebel ships attack the Death Star at the end? In the final battle, over or under 39.5? Over or under 39.5?
Rob's going to know he has hot toys of every single one of them.
And your answers in 3, 2, 1. Answer. And we've got, I got the wrong button hit. Okay, we've got under. And the answer is actually under. The line in the movie is, we count 30 rebel ships. There were 30 rebel ships that attacked the Death Star. Okay, 2 questions left. There's still a chance that Aaron could win this thing. All right, next one. We've got, in Iron Man 3, the number of Iron Man suits in the Iron Legion in the last act of the film, when all the Iron Man armors come flying in.
The house party
Iron Man
protocol.
3, that's right. In Iron Man 3, the number of Iron Man suits in the Iron Legion in the third act of the film, over or under 40.5. Over or under 40.5. And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Rob's saying under. Chris and Aaron are saying over. The answer is, if I can bring it up, here we go. The answer is under. There were 35 armor suits in the Iron Legion, which means Robert Meyer Burnett wins this one. But we will do the last question anyway. We'll see by how much you win this one. The final question is this, even though Rob's already won. This is interesting. We were just talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. It's been number 1 at the box office for 6 weeks, not consecutively, but for 6 weeks. Number of consecutive weeks that Avatar held on to the number 1 spot at the worldwide box office. Number of consecutive weeks that Avatar held on to the number 1 spot at the worldwide box office. Over under 9.5 weeks.
Oh.
Over under 9.5. And your answer in 3, 2, 1. Answer. Over. And the answer is, you're all right. It was over. Avatar had held on to the number 1 spot for 11 consecutive weeks. And it, of course, to this day is still the number 1 all-time worldwide box office. And ladies and gentlemen, your winner is Robert Meyer Burnett. Congratulations, Robert.
Thank you very much.
The world applauds your greatness. And of course, a little bit later.
No, I lose. I've only, this is only the second time I won this.
That's right. Like Aaron won the last time. So, Rob, a little bit later, you're going to be picking one of the people who sent in a question. And we're going to be sending them out. That's
the questions of the main topics?
No, the questions from the upcoming live chats. So we'll be sending those in there too. So keep your guys' eyes open for that. Keep your eyes on your email. We're going to be contacting one of you guys. Whichever guy Robert picks, you're going to be getting that back.
Or girl.
Or gal.
Or
whichever one of you find
however they identify.
All right. With that down, guys, hold on a second. I've got way too many windows open right now. I got to close down some of these things. With all that down, guys, we're going to move on and take your live questions now. But before we do, we're going to take a quick break, stretch our legs, refill our drinks. And I'm going to throw it over to my good friend, John from Earth 2, talking about a very interesting topic that Rob and this is a little clip from yesterday's episode of Mailbag. Check this out. Next up, Mr. Kaplan writes, "Hey, John, I'm sure you've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger has dropped an image on Twitter of him as Zeus for an upcoming project. That in and of itself is exciting to me. I think he looks great, but what's surprising is it says February 2022, thoughts about Arnie as Zeus." All right. Have you seen this?
I did. I saw it yesterday. With the gray hair.
The gray hair and the whole
greenish armor or whatever.
Hold on a second. Let me see what I can pull up here. Okay, so I just pulled up the image so you guys can see what it is we're talking about. There it is. That's an image that Arnold. Now, I honestly, when I first saw this, I thought it was something like, who's the great fan art guy online? Boss Logic. I thought who was a national treasure for film for fans, the fan community. When I first saw this, my first thought was like it was Boss Logic or something. But apparently Arnold is the one who put it up. I am not familiar with any project. I don't think this is anything. Is it?
I don't know. I that's why I'm like, where did this come from? Is it a Super Bowl ad? I don't know.
Let me see if I can find out something here because I don't know anything about it.
I'm still waiting for King Conan. Come on, when are they gonna make that movie?
Well, yeah, where is King Conan? You know what? I think the folks over at GameSpot got it right. I think this is going to be a Super Bowl ad.
Yeah.
Because remember, they've done that a couple of times in Super Bowl ads where they intimated something that looked like it was a movie, but it was really just Super Bowl ad. If he's saying February 2022, this is definitely a Super Bowl ad.
It's got to be a Super Bowl ad. By the way, Conan the Barbarian's 40 years old this year.
Wow.
In May, it'll be 40.
Crom. By Crom.
I mean, I can't believe that movie's 40.
It's, I can't even think about it. Who wrote the score for that?
Basil Polidoris.
Basil Polidoris.
Such a good score.
It is. It's amazing.
Basil's what you put on your pizza.
Basically, that's a very different thing.
Or maybe
All
not.
right. And we are back. Thank you, Rob and John from Earth 2. And now let's get on and start taking your live questions, shall we, that you guys sent in before the show started, which we had to turn off really fast because you guys sent in an awful lot of them. We'll make sure you guys are able to send in more eventually. All right. What do we have up here first?
So this is from Adam Henson. When you take your girlfriend to see Spider-Man No Way Home, and the first thing she says when seeing Doc Ock, I bet he's amazing in bed.
That's
Your girlfriend's a freak.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Then you've chosen well. You've chosen well.
Yeah.
Well done, Adam. All right,
Yeah.
what's next?
Kiwi loved episode 6, but it feels more Mando 2.5 than Boba Fett.
Listen, that is something that a lot of people have been saying the last couple episodes. And while there have been some very good narratively laying the groundwork, you're not wrong. It has felt like that, Kiwi. All right, what's next?
Dakota Walker, Ahsoka series is probably to find Ezra, but what do you think about after Ahsoka, a Luke and Ezra show about restarting the Jedi Order?
Look, it's one thing, I think you guys will agree, it's one thing to bring in a couple of scenes of Luke standing very relatively stationary as they do all that. It's another thing to make a whole series based on that. So unless they're going to cast Sebastian Stan to play that, I don't think
that would be good.
I don't think they're going to do that. What do you guys think?
I think you're right. I don't think they're
Exactly.
going to do that either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it just
actually
doesn't-
curious how Mark Hamill gets paid for this, because it's not his voice anymore. And
Well, he
it's,
did get credited on this
right, of course
episode.
he got credited, but I'm
He's doing
like,
the motion
do you
capture,
get
yeah.
like, top of show guest star? Like, how are you paid? Because you're not physically doing it. So I'm just curious.
Yeah,
I might call
an
SAG
interesting-
after and ask
because
that.
it's your body, but it's a digital face and it's somebody else's voice. And it's, by the way, however they're doing his voice, they're nailing it.
It's
Yeah.
great.
They are nailing it. All right, what's next?
Brandon Blake, wonder how Luke will react when he returns Grogu to Din and sees him working with Boba, the guy that tried to kill him.
I think he probably Luke seems to be a guy who knows the score. He knows what's going on. Or hey, look, you also know Boba Fett's a bounty hunter, man. He's just doing his job.
Right.
He's just doing his job. Don't blame. Don't hate a player, man. Hate the game. All right, what's next?
Elizabeth Dorado, another Boba Fett episode, and it was lovely. Kind of liked seeing many familiar faces, but was it too many? Yes. But that Grogu stole the show.
He did, Rob, but like you pointed out, like the member berries of this episode were strong. So we had to get the Luke cameo, but it served narrative purpose. Grogu, Ahsoka, Cad Bane,
R2.
Cobb Vanth, R2-D2. It's like, woo, cameo. I hope we as an audience aren't becoming to the point where it's just like, we don't care about good story or anything. But I mean, the good thing about this episode was I thought it did have some really good story to it as well. That's especially the Cad Bane thing.
And I
thought
did
was
say
great.
that we were going to see Luke's temple getting built or something.
and show the ant droids.
Yeah, which I actually,
building it up.
I kind of like that. I thought
Yeah, it was
kinda
interesting.
cool.
I like
Those
the
were
way they
hard
did
to
that.
watch initially.
What's
Yeah.
that?
They were very hard to watch initially.
Were they too
Yes.
spidery for you?
They were
Oh,
really
that's right, because they look like
They were
spiders.
super spidery,
Do you
and I
feel
was
better
actually
when
like,
they referred to them as ant droids?
I didn't hear that. I was
Oh, okay.
literally like going like that, and then I was like, "They're crabs, they're crabs, they're crabs, they're crabs," and then I finally counted the legs, and I went,
Okay, they're not spiders.
They're not
Even spider robots. All right, what's next?
2 in a row from Suthius here. I sensed in the Force a lot of nerdgasms going on with the reveal of the stranger from the desert. I know nothing of him, but he looks cool. Oh, he is cool.
All right,
That's great.
I will say this. Somebody asked me, because I mentioned that I had loved what they did bringing in Cad Bane and stuff like that. And somebody said to me, and it was right to ask, they said, John, you often complain about Star Wars about they're always contracting the universe, making it smaller, always having to come across characters we already know instead of expanding the universe. Cad Bane is one of these characters that I don't think applies because I think 90% of viewers have never heard of Cad Bane. So yeah, for some of us, we recognize that silhouette immediately, but I think the vast majority of the audience bringing in Cad Bane was expanding the universe. So I think it worked.
And he
on that
also
level.
looked great in live action.
He looked
And
so
sounded
Yeah.
great.
Looked cool,
And
sounded cool.
you know what? Let me bring up that damn picture again. Let me just get that for a
"Those
second.
tubes, man,
That just,
creepy."
I mean, I didn't know whether you could make that image look right in live action without it looking puppety. but it looked
So good.
great. And it sounded great, and he came across great, and yeah, I absolutely love that.
I
All right.
really like the fact that the way it was directed and the performance of the actor that who has Asperger's, by the way. I know a couple of our viewers are on the spectrum, and this is some great representation. The way that he really took his time. You know, it's the performance in the silence, the performance in the when you're not actually doing anything that can feel so heavy and dense and rich, and I thought that was a beautiful way to introduce
delivered.
the character. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, the other one from Suthius is Favreau and Filoni. Okay, so maybe you guys don't like Book of Boba Fett all that much. May we offer you a Luke 2.0? He looks and moves great.
Here's the funny thing, though. I know Suthius is being facetious here, but a lot of people react to these shows as if they're writing them as they go. Like, a lot of people forget these scripts were all written at the same time, and they've been done for a long time. A lot of people react to these shows like, well, they wrote and shot episode 3 all in 1 week, and then they wrote and shot episode 4.
And then they waited for our response to it.
And then,
then they wrote the next episode.
And I know that's not what Suthius is saying. That's not what Suthius, but it is funny you see the response of some people. That's how they kind of react like it is.
By the way, I do want to say one thing, too, that I have to give it up for Dave Filoni. Who directed this week's episode. We talked about how his direction has not impressed us.
But has constantly been improving.
I would say that this was a leaps and bounds. There were still some issues I had, but this was leaps and bounds forward in terms of his directing.
Well, yeah, because before he had never directed anything.
Right.
The episodes we saw him do before were literally the first live action things he has ever directed.
Yeah.
Wow. And because he had that attitude, I talk about it all the time. It's one of the greatest things I've ever seen. When they went to him in the behind the scenes thing, you see him on set for the first day of him directing something. He turns to the camera and says, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's like, maybe that would worry some people. To me, it was like, this guy has the right attitude.
Yeah.
You watch, because this guy now just wants to soak up. He wants to learn everything. And I think, well, yes, the first couple of things he directed were shaky, no doubt. But I think we've seen a steady improvement. And now he's got some experience under his belt. Now he's been there and done that. And I think we're seeing that progression. And
when
I'm
you
excited
admit
to see
that
what he
you
does.
don't know everything, you're willing to collaborate and you're willing to listen to people who do know. And that's an issue that a lot of novice directors, the ego gets in the way and they don't have the ability to listen to other people because their ego will not allow them to get out of their own way and just, work as a collaborative team.
He could have walked onto that set and said, yeah, Favreau, I got this. I've been working on Star Wars a long time, buddy. But his attitude was thank God I've got John Favreau here. And it's like, oh my God, this guy's going to be great because he's got that attitude. And I think last night's episode was a sign. I still think Bryce Dallas Howard's episode was the superior episode, especially in the direction of it, but you could see the leaps and bounds improvements in him. And just imagine how good he's going to be in a couple of years. All right, anyway, what's next?
Raymond Verada. When Baby Yoda decides to come back, you're making me walk on sand again with my tiny feet. WTF, Daddy? Beskar is heavy.
Beskar. And it's surprisingly light, though, Raymond. Don't forget, it's surprisingly light. By the way, do any of us doubt, honestly, not a facetious rhetorical question, do any of us doubt that Grogu will be in the season finale? He will, right? He's going to show up. That's going to be the result of the choice, right?
Also,
I think he's show up there in that shiny.
Have you seen what happens when you offer a baby two things? They take both things.
They take both. I did like that it was Yoda's sword, though. That was pretty cool. All right, what's next?
Cara Black. I honestly do not care that the Book of Boba Fett has become Star Wars the show. This is quality Star Wars content.
I mean, listen, the last couple of episodes have been great. I mean, yes, Boba Fett hasn't been in 1/3 of the Book of Boba Fett episodes. Yeah, that's true. But the episodes have been solid and they've been entertaining, and we'll see how the final episode ties it all together. I still wish there were 4 more episodes to go. It would feel more natural, but we'll see.
When does season 2 come out? Am I jumping in?
They haven't even talked about there being a season 2.
And Mandalorian 3 is in December or something?
I don't know if they're even done shooting Mandalorian season 2 yet, so I don't know. It's a good question. I don't think they've officially announced when Mandalorian season 3 is. Sorry. But I don't know. Maybe they have. All right, what's next?
Brandon Blake. I guess we know where the budget from some of the sketchy CGI in the first few episodes of Boba Fett went now.
Yeah, so that Luke, I mean, again, it can't be emphasized enough how much better that Luke face looked compared to the last time. All right, what's next?
Suthius again. When we're out and about, our 3-year-old is always the slowest and behind. I need to learn the Force, scoot along to hurry his ass up.
Listen.
That was so cool. I was like, you're not going to make this kid with like the 2-inch feet walk this entire way.
That was great.
That was so cool.
Was awesome because I remember thinking about that, like even in some other episodes when Grogu's been watching, like he's not going to keep up, but the little thing of, it's almost like putting a little leash in and pulling him along. I thought that looked awesome. That was fun.
But it's those subtle things in storytelling that like, okay, as I'm reading this script or as I'm watching this show, what are the things that as a viewer, as a reader are going to take me out? Oh, okay, it's going to take me out that his feet are too small. He's not going to be able to keep up. Okay, well, let's just make a little easy, Jedi, scoot along trick. Okay, boom.
Which also was delightful to see. It was great. All right, what's next?
Al Renshaw sends in 2. Now we have the Gaming Wars.
Yeah, not just streaming. I mean, to be fair, the Gaming Wars have been around before the Streaming Wars, so that's nothing new. All right, what's next?
And they ask, could density, wow, that's something Logan calls it. Could Destiny be the game movie Dwayne Johnson was talking about? That would certainly be an interesting choice.
I don't think so, because with them just acquiring that company now, like, something about the rules of corporate takeovers, stuff like that, you could not be having any discussions or anything like that with anybody pertaining to new deals with the company while that was going on. So I let's put it this way. It would be incredibly shocking if it was, because there's so many legal problems there with that. So probably not.
Is Destiny a new game?
No.
Because people in the chat were like, there's no way that Tom rented that at Blockbuster. It hasn't been around that
long.
Well, did Tom make me look like a total asshole?
I was going to ask the questions like, well, wait a minute. How long ago did the first Red Dead come out? Because you're mentioning Red Dead. Because I remember Ann and Ray and everybody playing Red Dead. But were the Blockbusters still kind of hanging on at that point?
I think probably. Well,
I didn't.
Let's use that trusty newfangled internet.
I
and
didn't
find
play
out.
Destiny until PlayStation 4, and that's the kind of PlayStation we got, because I still have a PlayStation 4.
All right, Luke, got to keep going. What's next?
All right, this is from Suthius again. High possibility that Cobb will be modded up now?
I hope not. I'll be honest with you. One of the things that I think has been absolute bullshit with this show is the whole mod thing.
Yeah.
It's like, really? That's all took 15 minutes in a guy's chair, and now you're half robot. I certainly hope not. He only took one shot. He should be okay.
I think he'll be okay.
All right, what's next?
Michael Pacheco, Grogu, me Kylo.
Yeah, I mean, that, unless he leaves, which I think he's going to leave. All right, what's next?
Elizabeth Dorado again. Grogu seeing Mando leaving broke my heart, which made me hate Luke for making him see that. But I might be wrong in feeling that. I'm with you, Elizabeth. I got mad.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I was watching. Listen, Ray was mad. Watching that episode last night, say like Ray's like Luke's an asshole, like sort of thing. Not letting him see Mando, but then having him make make this life-altering choice. But it is the way of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You have to have detachment from that. But you would have thought that Luke would have learned, hey, my family has some experience of what happens when you force somebody to break their attachments. Didn't turn out so well. Galactic genocide and all. Maybe we need to rethink how we do these things. I don't know, but
there's a really, really great piece of fan art that I'll have to try to find to bring in that brings in an adult Grogu talking about the Mandalorian way and the Jedi way and how they come together to make a philosophy that works for him as he's levitating his little bauble. Oh, it's precious.
All right, what's next?
3 from Sam Fisher. OMG, the CGI on Luke was flawless.
It was.
I guess they used a processor, had more time. It was perfect. Also loved all the ES beep callbacks to Yoda training Luke. Yes.
Yeah, that was really important too.
Does anyone else want to see Ahsoka and Luke's first meeting? Like, what was her reaction to Anakin having a kid?
I mean, listen, I think that was probably a source of disappointment for a lot of people. Because I remember when that episode happened in Mandalorian Season 2, people were like, I want to see Ahsoka meet Luke. And it's kind of surprising. But listen, story comes first. And at this part in the story, they needed them to have already met. Even though, really what they should have done, Ahsoka should not have been in that episode. And then you should have had Ahsoka meeting Luke at some point in the future, because that scene could have been special.
But isn't Hayden Christensen going to be in Ahsoka?
Yes.
That's what they're saying, yes.
Yeah, so they could show you that flashback, or something could happen, or
but I mean,
whatever.
Luke meeting Ahsoka.
No, but I mean, I think that we might see that.
I mean, it's possible. I hope so. All right, what's next?
Last one from Sam Fisher. Rob called it 7 Samurai. Also, Vanth is 100% dead.
No, they actually, when they were gathering around, they were saying he's still breathing. And I think they very specifically, there's a reason why Bane shot him once and then
the other
turned up the other
guy
15 times.
Yeah.
So
I knew that guy shouldn't have walked outside.
Yeah.
That guy
And
shouldn't
Cobb
have.
Vanth said, I love the cutaways to Cobb Vanth going, what a what an idiot. Like,
Right.
why are you here, you dumbass?
You know,
know?
Go back inside.
Shootout may
I
not
got
have even
this.
happened if that dude wasn't there.
Right, that's right.
They may
Everybody
have
wants to be a
figured
hero.
it out. All right, what's next?
Chris Bersinas, Filoni is just flexing with Star Wars now, and I am there for all of it.
Well, I mean, the one thing Filoni definitely does is he just peppers in his favorite stuff. I mean that is stuff. Look, again, I still think last week's episode was better, but this was I think the second best episode of the season so far. All the member berry special cameo stuff notwithstanding. I thought the story was well told. I liked the underlying Godfather feel of it all, like setting this all stuff up. It just, again, it felt like the mid-season finale than it felt like the second last episode of the season. But we'll see. Maybe it'll tie up beautifully. We'll have to find out. All right, what's next?
Josie reviews. I was on Peacock yesterday and saw that Marry Me is being quietly released day and date. Will Universal now drop their smaller movies day and date?
I
That's
had no
interesting. I
idea they were
didn't know
doing a
that
day
either.
and date. Are you sure about that? I thought that was a theatrical. I was pretty sure that was a theatrical exclusive. I know Universal would be dropping it like sooner than most other people, but I'll have to go back.
Well,
I
we'll
mean,
have to find
I
out if
don't-
it gets released in Canada theatrically.
Yes.
Oh, that'll be the big thing.
That's the new litmus test.
At the end of the day, is I don't care what they do with "Marry Me," but I'm not. I did not hear that, Josie. I'll take a look at that. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher, Cad Bane. I'm sorry, but Cad Bane? WTF?
What's wrong with that? He was great.
He was awesome.
and it made
Sounds
sense.
like he was excited.
All right, what's next?
Cody Hunt, I much prefer the cross-cutting in this Boba episode. It felt like it was all building towards something. It feels like a standard episode of television.
Again, the big problem though is it didn't feel like the second last episode. It felt like something that's setting up what our season is going to be. But they kind of went that way. But again, still a great episode, though. I really liked it. All right, what's next?
Two-parter for Sam Fisher. Dude, thank you so much for all your support. 1 out of 2. I was actually able to guess it was Bane from the distance shot by the hat. I still remember Bane from the Clone Wars trailers touting him as the deadly bounty hunter in the galaxy. He is seared into my brain.
Listen, there is something about some characters are iconic because the stories that are told, but there's something about the look of Cad Bane. Like just that there's a Jonesy Whale kind of feel to him, right? With the way the hat is, the way the coat hangs. There's this iconic gunslinger, cowboy, Western feel to him, on top of the fact that he's like such a menacing character and all kind of stuff. He's going to fit in very well. But again, I feel like this was an episode 3 character, and now we look forward to the big confrontation between the baddest man on the block, Boba Fett, versus the guy who wants to be the man. You got to beat the man, you know. And instead, we're not going to get that build up. We had one scene, and it's too bad because again, I just wish this was 12 episodes. All right, what's next?
Elizabeth Dorado again. John, yesterday I asked a question about Super Bowl trailers and accidentally put Top Gun 3 instead of 2.
I didn't even notice that.
Rob called it.
I
one
didn't even
job.
notice that.
Well,
that
at
they
this
said
point,
3
it might as
instead of
well
2.
be Top Gun 3.
Yeah.
Right.
Top Gun
It's
2
taken
should
that
have
long.
come out already. And
20
now
years ago.
it's the
There's just going to be so much movie. It's like there's a third movie in it.
I just got to again say, Aaron and I at CinemaCon, and they showed those 12, 15, 18 minutes, whatever it was. So good.
Yeah.
It was so good. I cannot wait to see the whole thing. I can't wait for the rest of you guys to see it too. All right, what's next?
Another James Fisher. Who's the idiot who's going to make the $1,000 bet Grogu picks the lightsaber?
Listen, you never know. We could be surprised. I think it's obvious he's going to show up at the end, but they very well may not show up at the end, and then they're going to pick this up in Mandalorian season 3.
Where was Grogu in the sequel trilogy?
Yeah.
Chilling.
I mean, but that's been the question a lot ever since Mandalorian season 2 is like, so he's going to be one of the guys that gets killed. Oh, can I mention something too, though? How bloody unsatisfying was it to start to see Grogu remembering what happened in the Jedi Temple?
Oh.
And then nothing else.
No, because we learned in Mandalorian season 2, we find out that somebody got him out of there. Mm-hmm. And it's like, we're going to find out. Who was it? Who got him out? And we're going to tease you with it. We're going to shine your helmet. No, we're not. And then they didn't pay it off.
We need to have Fallen Order, the second game, come out.
Yes.
To see if that's how this
See
all
if that
pans out.
was it him? Was he the guy who
All
got him
gonna
out?
tie
I want to see
together.
like little Grogu mommy and daddy.
Oh, I
You
don't
know?
know that I do.
I
No,
do.
I'm pretty
I
good
kind of
with
want to
not
see
knowing
them
that.
just like
I
with
want to
Was he
just
born
imagine
from
that
an
they
egg?
like spawn
The
like
little-
starfish.
Was he hatched?
like
Don't know.
babies.
We know so little about the race. So little. All right, what's next?
James Hoffman, Luke training Grogu was awesome. Much better than training of Rey in Last Jedi. Now, I want a Disney Plus series of just Luke training new Jedi. I think we'll see Luke a lot in the Ahsoka series.
I will say this. Seeing Luke training Grogu conceptually is really cool. I didn't feel like a lot of training was going on.
Yeah.
Well,
You
training
agree?
takes
I agree.
time. It's not all in a
No, but
wax on, wax off montage.
I know, but it was platitude. It was, okay, now jump high, but feel the force flow through you. Really? That's it? That's what it, okay, boom. But just seeing that's what he was doing on the world, I think was important and good. And listen, I know a lot of people, like I hate the prequels, but I love Yoda's fights in the prequels. I love the way Yoda moves in the prequels. I love his bouncing all over the place and the flips and the whatever and all that kind of stuff. I love it. And I know a lot of people don't, and that's fine. But I got such a kick out of seeing Baby Yoda pulling
Jumping
off
on the
those
rocks.
similar types of moves. I really like that a lot. I got a kick out of that. But that's just me. All right, what's next?
Cody Hunt, wow, the first few shots of Luke were incredible.
Yeah.
I loved that was a full character. I feel like we can see a lot of old cast down the road.
Again, like Aaron brought up, that is not easy and it's not cheap. And all those things were like pretty static.
Yeah.
To do something full, I still think we're a little bit a ways from that. And why not just move on with new stories?
I do think, though, I do think that I think Han Solo knows Cobb Vanth. Han Solo, remember, when we first met him, he's at Mos Eisley. He is no stranger to Tatooine.
That's why I thought that might have been Alden Ehrenreich.
And he's running Spice.
Yeah.
He is running Spice. He was part of that whole Jabba the Hutt, so it would not surprise me whether it's Boba Fett, all that connection, Cobb Vanth, all that. If Harrison Ford's going to show up, he's going to show up in the next episode.
Well, since there's only one episode left,
I guess
I
we're
would
gonna
say
find out
that's a
pretty
pretty
soon.
good bet. He's going to show up. It'll be in the next episode. All right, what's next?
Another from Cody Hunt. Back when Lucasfilm released the behind the scenes of bringing back Luke, they didn't end up using Hamill's footage. I wonder if they used him at all this time.
Back when Lucasfilm released the behind the scenes of bringing Luke back, they didn't end up using Hamill's footage. I wonder if they used. I don't know. It's a good question. Do you know anything about that?
No, but I would imagine that they didn't because they have Luke's double. I think he was even credited in the end credits, and the way he's moving and all of that. I don't think they probably
And
used.
it is Hamill's voice.
It
The
is?
chat has been saying.
What?
No,
chat's
there's no
been
way.
saying that
There's-
it's him just digitized a bit. Because I know Eric Bauza does sound-alikes of him for like all the Lego stuff and
Right,
other
but that's what
things,
I'm saying is like even if it's his voice digitized, it's not it sounds like young Luke. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah,
sound
Mark
like
Hamill does not sound like that. to
right.
me.
So like regardless of he may have gone and done a voiceover and then they did a bunch of technical editing, but that is not what Mark Hamill sounds like
yeah.
today.
If
That's
it-
what I'm saying. It's not his voice.
It would be a very odd choice if they would do that because it seems it would be because number one, you're ultimately ending up with something that's not his voice anyway.
It would be. It would make so much more sense financially to just hire a voice actor.
and practically, it's a lot
But
easier.
he is credited in the main credits of the end titles of the
but just
episode.
because he's
Yeah, but he's-
credited
he's
does
there,
not mean that.
because
I
he's
mean,
the actor.
the reason he gets by SAG rules, you have to speak. He's a SAG actor, so if he's credited, it's because he has a speaking role.
Is
If
that
he just
true?
showed
No,
up,
but hold
if
on,
he
but
just
it's-
showed up and didn't say anything.
Okay, you know what? We got to move.
Yeah.
We've got like 500 more questions to come through, but that's a good discussion to have another time. All right,
More
what's next?
Sam Fisher, one of two. I saw Cyrano on stage about 6 months after GOT ended with Dinklage. Dog reminds me of that Kate Mara movie, Megan Levy. I'm excited for Marry Me only because it reminds me of Notting Hill. I like movies where I can just shut off my brain and I'll watch anything. Foos.
But listen, you can have movies where you get to shut off your brain and still be a decent movie, right? I just don't think Marry Me looks good, and I'm a fan of Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson, and I hope to be pleasantly surprised.
Is that the movie that Armie Hammer was supposed to do?
Yes,
Is it?
I think it was. Yeah.
No, I think that isn't that the one being that's the one being directed by Jason Sudeikis' ex-wife,
Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde. That's the one he was replaced.
that was
on.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling. That's the one he was. I don't think he was ever in Marry Me.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong about that, but I don't think he was ever in that one.
By the way, I
Might be
can't
wrong.
wait to see Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, of course. After what she did with Booksmart, I cannot wait to see what she does.
And
with this.
that-
Arnold director.
I've heard a little bit about that movie. It sounds right up my alley. I can't wait.
All right, next up.
Casey Mack just saw the trailer for After Yang, and it's been getting a lot of hype at Sundance. Another A24 movie I will likely check out.
Is that the Colin Farrell one
Yes.
that everybody's talking about? I have
The
not seen it
robot
for
movie.
it.
I watched the trailer for it and almost started crying.
I
Looked
haven't
like
seen
right
the
up.
trailer for it yet.
It's got a Blade Runner-esque. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe vibe. I mean, there's a lot of these robot stories, android stories coming out. Like there's a android who's part of the family, and it looks great.
All right, next up.
Sam Fisher again. No stupid questions, but do people get royalties when a movie is shown on TV? And does everyone in the cast and crew get royalties? Lead actor and grip?
Crew does not.
Crew
Nope.
doesn't.
True does not, which to me,
You don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate.
Yep.
But if you're a crew person, you don't even have the power to negotiate that anymore.
Well, your union does.
The
Yeah.
union does, yeah. If they did, but
IOTC does.
that's because to
Well,
me,
it depends. Like if you're in a DGA too, first
Right.
AD sometimes can get a little residual.
And it also depends
taste.
on where it was shot, because there's a lot of reasons why certain productions will only shoot in Canada.
because there's different rules there.
I mean, even as an actor, all my friends who do Hallmark movies, they don't get residuals. Those things play 8,000 times.
Yep.
Why? Because they're shooting in Canada. I've never seen a residual from The Flash. And I shot that.
That's
in
because
Vancouver.
it passed you by.
Get it?
Love you, Rob. Fucking love
Get it?
you.
Sorry.
Get it? All right, what's next?
Christopher Brickner. Jedi's no attachment rule was a bad rule that helped lead to their downfall. Personally, I prefer Legends, where Luke realizes it's bad and gets rid of it.
I mean, again, you would think that, but look, but before we jump on the thing about, Vader, the rule served the Jedi very well for thousands of years, right? The Jedi, they maintained peace and order. The Galactic Republic was all in good order and everything was good for thousands of years. But yeah, it does seem like a bad rule. But one thing led to, but you could almost argue that the fact that secretly Anakin gave in to his attachments to Padme proved that the rule was a good rule. Because if it wasn't for his over attachment to Padme, he never would have gone crazy and gone to the dark side, because he did everything out of, I'm willing to sacrifice the universe to save her. And so you might actually argue that this proved that the rule was a good rule.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Raymond Verrata. Do you see Liam Neeson?
Oh, is it Detroit Dog?
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Detroit Dog. Man, the CGI on Luke looked amazing. Nice upgrade.
They absolutely, Detroit is huge upgrade, man. All
There
right,
were times I was literally like watching it. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
yeah, I mean, I'm studying it and looking at it, squinting my eyes. Like, oh my God, that's so
Can I ask you
flawless.
an ethical question, John?
Yes.
Now that you've seen that, we've heard that they want to do things like bring James Dean back.
They did.
Well, that's like
they made
years
an
old.
entire movie starring James
I don't think
Dean.
they ever did make it.
They were going to do
They
that.
were going
I
to,
don't know
but
if
I
They
don't-
did.
So,
Oh, okay.
but for you guys,
Using deep
knowing
fake.
that Mark Hamill is at least tangentially involved in the making of this, I have no problem with this kind of technology. But what about bringing back actors that are long dead that have no say over their participation?
I would think you'd have to specifically say in your will, hey, you can use my likeness later on in life. But
Well,
if
I mean,
it's-
Or your
it's-
estate gets to
yeah,
have
or
that
yeah,
estate.
the estate of those people gets to. But like, what if you're, talking about to people who maybe don't have an estate that controls
Right.
them? I mean, yes, obviously Marilyn Monroe has an estate, Elvis Presley has an estate, but not every actor had that negotiated before they died.
Because I've been thinking about this since I watched this. I watched the episode this morning. I keep thinking, if Mark Hamill wasn't here, would I still accept a Luke?
Like if we did,
CG
like
Luke?
if it was Leia.
Yeah, like now that, like I did accept it in Rogue One, you could buy into it, but would I accept Luke if Mark Hamill wasn't alive? Could I watch something and go, oh, that's Luke? I think in my mind, I can only accept it
But at
because
the
he
same
is here.
time, given that it's a character,
I know.
it
I
does
know.
have its own. It's IP, and so technically they own the IP
I know.
of that. I don't know.
I
don't
mean,
know
I
what-
accept a character when I look him in a comic book. I'm like, yeah, I'll read a comic. It
So
doesn't
if
matter.
you saw a young Carrie Fisher as Leia show up in the next episode, how would you feel?
I don't know. I've
That's a good
been
question.
thinking about it all day today.
But again, we are running out of time and we still have 1,000 questions to get through. So let's keep on going here. What's next?
Joshua Gonzalez, R.I.P. Monica Vitti, who is best known for the Night trilogy of Michelangelo and Antonioni,
Antonioni.
which I was recommended of by Robert Meyer Burnett.
Oh, so you've been recommending that one for a while.
I've been recommending it for years. It's a test. It's a litmus test. If you can sit through it, you're my kind of people.
All right. What's
Raymond
next?
Verrata, did you see Liam Neeson last night do Blue Steel?
I have no idea what we're talking about.
Never.
No, but I would watch that.
I'll watch it all the time. All right, what's next?
Justin Martin, what would you do if you were Adrian Brody and you were cast as the lead in Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life and found out at the premiere? Oh, that you were cast as the lead at the premiere. Sorry, punctuation.
Yeah, I think it was actually a thin red
It was
line.
a thin red
I
line.
was going to
There we
say,
go. Yeah,
Tree
he
of
showed
Life?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a thin red line. He showed up to the
I
premiere and
was the
realized that they
Brad
had
Pitt character. but
I was
sadly
going
not.
to say,
Cut 'em
really?
out.
What? Oh, okay, got it. All right, what's next?
Harv's K, it's Mando's world, and backseat Boba is only living in it. Lucasfilm should have used a different title for the show without tipping their hand.
Well, I mean, look, to be honest, though, the first 4 episodes of this series were all Boba Fett. I mean, so let's not pretend like like last week was episode 1 of the show.
But they could have called the show The Mandalorian, and it could have still been about Boba Fett. 'cause
Mandalorian and
Mandalorian,
Mando and Friends.
Or the underworld of Tatooine or something like, I mean, yeah, but it's the book of Boba Fett. So there we go. All right, what's next?
Caleb Lowrance, in an interview, Gunn said he refused to show the final episode to any press prior to its airing. This can only mean one thing. Mephisto is in the
Mephisto.
final episode of Peacemaker.
Guys, it is ridiculous how giddy I am about Peacemaker every week. Like I'm drooling. I shake. I'm so excited. I just cannot watch every time to watch the next episode of
You should
Peacemaker.
get that checked out.
And what is it? We're going on episode 6 tonight.
Yep.
Is it 6?
Yep.
So they've got tonight and 2 more episodes to go. So, oh my God, I'm loving this show so much.
It is an 80s rock mosh pit. I mean, the playlist, the official James Gunn Peacemaker playlist is on Spotify, and I am a big fan of it. I just the Faster Pussycat song at the end. I'm not gonna lie, episode 4, the Faster Pussycat song, it messed me up. It messed me up. I was actually not okay for a couple days. Like, it brought up some darkness inside of me and some shit that I had buried down deep. And I was like, oh my God.
Did you guys hear that the Rainbow in LA is going to have a 50th anniversary celebration? The Rainbow, the Rainbow Bar and Grill, and it's gonna, they're gonna have bands play, and they're gonna.
What?
We all have to go.
If we can get in, do you know how hard that's gonna be to get into that?
Yeah, I know.
I know
the
it's
biggest
people,
venue.
but
here's the thing too, like when you're looking at Peacemaker, what Peacemaker doesn't have to do to be compelling and awesome and engaging and get you excited, they don't have to have Batman show up.
yeah,
Right.
They don't have to have Superman show up. And they don't have to have, why am I freezing on the name of the magician girl that everybody
Zatanna?
calls
Harley Quinn.
Zatanna.
Oh,
They don't have to have Zatanna pop up. They don't have to have, they don't have to have member berries. It's just all original characters, all telling the story, and it's really compelling. And don't get me wrong, I loved last night's episode of Boba Fett, and I loved last week's episode of Boba Fett. But again, it needed to rely a little bit on, look, guys, it's this character. And look, guys, Peacemaker hasn't had to do that. Even though it has the wealth of the DC canon available to it, and they're going to let James Gunn do whatever he wants, but they don't need to do that. They don't have to bring in these characters that everybody remembers. And I think that's pretty cool. I think it speaks to the strength of the show. Anyway, what's next?
Mike Joyce, one February movie you forgot, the Norwegian movie, The Worst Person in the World. My favorite movie of 2021.
I don't remember that one.
It hasn't come out. It's in Oscar contention. It's there. I think it's the Norway's entry into the Academy Awards.
You know what I was thinking of? I
haven't
was
seen
thinking
it,
of
but
The
I'm dying to see
Angriest Man in New York. That when I heard that, because Robin Williams, James Earl Jones, that you remember that scene in the thing? It's like this and then Robin Williams mocking. Well, don't forget to do that. And James Earl Jones, fuck you. This is so good. Anyway, okay, what's next?
Dante writes in, John and Rob got into Westerns and Unforgiven on the mailbag.
Yes.
And that was fun as hell. I just watched Silverado for the first time yesterday. Oh, you're so lucky. Loved it.
Yes.
That movie is so good.
Silverado's really, really good. But again, we got in, this is how good Unforgiven is. Like the moment Rob and I just start talking about it, it's like, oh, and this, oh, and this, oh, and this. Like, if you guys haven't seen Unforgiven, it's what did we say anniversary it's coming up on? 30?
It's 30 this year.
30 this year. I know it is now a bit of an older movie, but I still think it's the greatest Western ever made. I just, maybe a top 15, 20 best movie ever made. It's just so good. And Clint Eastwood at the absolute apex. All right, what's next?
This is from It's Kane. Chris, Hi. Live action One Piece series just started filming this week with Steve Medea as showrunner. Are you excited? No. It's the most successful manga ever. It is. And the anime is fantastic and so long. There's a lot of filler, but it's really, really fun.
Yeah, isn't there like 1,000 episodes
There's
or
so
issues
many.
of One
And it's
Piece?
got this ridiculous like opening song too where they're like, come aboard and bring along. And it sounds like Donny Osmond. It's great.
Sounds like a love boat.
But
Wow, you should do an anime song every day on the show.
oh my gosh,
Agreed.
I'd love it. Let me please. Everyone will be like, unsubscribe. But have we seen really good live action adaptations of anime from Netflix? No?
I think Airbender's going to break that. I think
You think so?
Last Airbender's going to break that. I really do.
I hope it does. I don't have a lot of faith since the original showrunners
Bebop
left.
didn't work out so well.
Bebop was fun though. You just had to like separate it from the cartoon
Mm.
or the anime, excuse me. I don't want everyone to yell at me. And if you want to watch the anime, go back and watch the anime. That's also on Netflix. They were doing their own thing, but I don't have high hopes.
All right, what's next?
Federico Jordan, one of three, but they're not anyone near here, Federico. Sorry. First, I want to say that your show every day has helped me get through some dark times, and thank you for that. That's
Oh, well,
very
thank you so much,
sweet.
Federico. Thanks for being here, being a part of it. I hope we get to come across your next couple
Yeah.
of
The dark
parts of
times
that.
before the Empire.
Okay, once again, this is a good opportunity to remind everyone, if you're going to send in a question that's multiple parts, write it out first in a notepad or a document of some sort so it can come in, so you can send them in all at the same time so we don't have to go hunting for your things. Otherwise, we might miss some of what you're saying. Okay, sorry. Please continue.
Cutter Hale, people in Texas, if you are eager to see Jackass like me, wait till Saturday like I am. We have a good chance for ice and snow tomorrow, everyone. Be safe. Oh, please be safe, you guys.
Texas is a big state.
I mean,
Yeah.
that is, look, we're lucky living here in California, but like a lot of the East Coast, like a lot of the theaters got shut down this week from the snow
yeah,
and
the
the storms.
blizzard.
Yeah. So everybody stays safe.
Yeah, our in-laws lost power in
Did they?
Massachusetts. Yeah.
One of the reasons we're switching this over to solar.
There you go. Yeah, my parents are in Texas, so I appreciate that. They're in East Texas.
All right, what's next?
Dia Alashore writes in, where would Melina's Ock rank for you in CB movie villains? I would say top 5 with Thanos, Loki, Joker, and Magneto. Killmonger is number 6.
I don't do a lot of rankings, to be honest with you, but Melina's, like, Doc Ock coming out of Spider-Man 2, I mean, at the time, was the greatest. Maybe only second to Zod in Superman 2. But it was the great. We have seen some great villains come since. I love the new General Zod that we got in Man of Steel. Obviously, Thanos, Loki, Killmonger. I don't know, but he is one of the great comic book villains. Where would you?
Yeah, he's up there. I mean, the thing to me is I guess I don't see Doc Ock as a villain necessarily because he's a victim of circumstance. I see him as a victim. You know, that's why I liked a lot of what went on in No Way Home because they got rid of the evil AI chip and they gave him back his agency.
Exactly.
Which I liked.
Isn't that really the genesis of every bad person?
True.
There's always some.
A lot of villains, particularly like the one thing about the Raimi Spider-Man movies, they fell victim to repeating patterns too often. Like, for example, in all 3 Raimi Spider-Man movies, the villain kidnaps Mary Jane and dangles her from a high place as bait for a Spider-Man trap. That happens in all 3 of Raimi's movies. Also in all 3 of his movies, the villain was actually a good person.
Right.
Who something happened and he became a bad person. You look at, that's true of Goblin in the first one. That's true of Doc Ock. That's true of Sandman as we get into the third. Not so much
Eddie
Venom,
Brock's
but
kind of a piece of shit. But
who?
Eddie Brock, yeah.
Yeah, Eddie, yeah.
He's-
Other than the
he's kind of
Venom, but
a tool.
But still, like in all 3 of them. So as great as Sam Raimi was, when they said they weren't going to be doing 4, I thought, you know what, it might be for the best because I think Raimi needs to recharge his creative batteries and step away from that franchise because we're starting to see a lot of things just repeat themselves. But anyway, all right, what's next?
Andy Brake, hey, Campea gang. I just watched the latest 2 episodes from some Star Wars show. I'd recommend it to y'all, but I forgot the name of the show. I called Disney and asked them, but they said they forgot the name of the show too.
It's called Star Wars and the Sands
Wars
of
and
Tatooine.
Raphael writing in, that episode made me want to watch TESB so I can see Yoda again.
Yeah. You know what I've started doing? You guys might know, to fall asleep at night, I need to pop on my TV. So when I go to bed, I just need something in the background that just turns my brain off so my mind doesn't start thinking about stuff, right? So same routine. I get in bed, I set the sleep timer on the TV to about an hour and a half, put on something, whether it's I usually Love It or Listed or Property Brothers or something silly like that. But lately, I've put on a 1-hour YouTube video of the inside of Yoda's Dagobah hut and R2 just sitting in the corner with a fire going and a pot cooking something and the rain outside. And it's just this ambient noise of inside Yoda's hut on Dagobah. And
I love that you do
I've been
that.
falling asleep to that.
I love
every night.
those. I leave them on for the dogs. I'll get little anime
Ooh,
ones
that's a
because if
good
you hear
idea.
like a high-pitched woman talking, it sounds like me. So
Do they have one when R2's actually outside the hut going, ooh, ooh, when he's peeking over the window?
No, that's sorry. I said he's inside the hut. He's not. Every once in a while, you see R2 sticking his head up
okay.
in here, and just every once in a while, amidst the thunder and the rain falling, the sound of the cooking fire going. It's great. Yoda's not in it, but it's great. I'm sorry about
That's a lot
that.
better and a lot healthier. I'm happy to hear that.
But
Yeah.
again, I get it from my dad. I just need something because if I just lay there in the total silence at night,
No,
my mind just goes a
I
million
fall
miles an
asleep
hour.
to the Calm app, the Daily Calm,
Yeah.
and it's literally a 10-minute Daily Calm recorded thing. I don't even make it through the first 3 minutes because now her voice is like Pavlov's dog. But like when Tom moved in and he was like, "Okay, where's the TV gonna go?" And I go, "Not in the bedroom. No, thank you." So because I was like, I am not gonna be woken up at 3 a.m. with you watching all of your jackass bullshit.
AKA porn. So a lot of people that think you say, John, where can I find this? Just go on YouTube and search for Dagobah ambient sounds. Just search for that and you should be able
How
to
do you
find it. No
spell
problem.
Dagobah?
You know, I don't know off the top of my head.
Dagobah, right?
How do you spell
Yeah.
diarrhea? That's a
That's a
that's an after party.
That's
everyone
the way,
watched that show.
Two
you only
R's.
get one chance or one shot
Twice.
You'll-
That it's
I
all
don't-
on Spotify right now. You can listen to all of it.
You only
it's so
get
great.
one
Ben
shot
Schwartz.
Okay,
you
next
gift
up.
to everyone. Detroit Dog again. Do you think the Marshal is dead? I don't.
No,
Neither do I.
they said he was still breathing.
Yeah,
so.
hit in the shoulder.
Plus, they'll just go to that guy and they'll put the pipes
Yeah.
in his.
Oh yeah, that was
Federico, here's the other part of his question, at least part two. I was full of emotions and goosebumps after watching the latest Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett episode. Seeing Luke train Grogu brought me back to the Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, it was very, very...
Is this part 3 anywhere? No, nowhere to be seen. I mean, yeah, no, it absolutely did have that. And it was special when we got to see the baby and we got to see Luke again with a much improved CGI face. I mean, it really was very nice. And they nailed the voice. It was great. All right, what's next?
Mr. Holbrook, since we know that the Flash movie is going to retcon some things, do you think it will affect Peacemaker?
I think it's going to affect the entire DC universe. But how much they're really going to be connecting their TV stuff to their movies, I mean, I think that's still up in the air a little bit.
I don't know.
Yeah, no idea. We'll see. All right, it's the right question, Mr. Holbrook. It's absolutely the right question to ask. But I think we're just going to have to wait to find out the answer. All right, what's next?
Cutter Hale again. Have you seen the TV show Justified? Heck yes. It's a fantastic show about a U.S. Marshal in Kentucky. Definitely check it out if you haven't.
With Marshall Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
Never watched it.
But you know what?
It's so great.
I was thinking about this on the way over here. Also loved Deadwood and Timothy
love
Olyphant.
Deadwood.
I don't need to see Timothy Olyphant do anything except be a marshal. I
Yeah.
don't care what you're going to be in. I don't care if you're on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You can come in to do an episode as the marshal. I don't care if you're coming in and you're doing Book of Boba Fett. I don't care if you're in Peacemaker. All I want is Timothy Olyphant with a badge, walking up and being like, all right, well, you're just gonna have to get on out of here because I'm the marshal. Like that's all I want to see him do. I don't need Sam Elliott. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you
No,
off.
please.
I was just going to say a dumb tradition we do. We do a Christmas in July called Heat Miser's Revenge, and you have to do the White Oliphant, which is you have to get a Timothy
White
Oliphant
Oliphant.
gift, so it has to be related to some of his IP.
By the way, did any of you guys ever watch? Did any of you guys watch The Good Place?
Yeah.
Timothy Olyphant popping up, the universal,
perfect.
the universe's judge has like a kind of a
Where
crush
she's
on.
like,
It's like Timothy Olyphant. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn, producer Will Parker was talking about making a girls' trip too. I want to be excited, but minus 22 Jump Street and a few other comedy sequels sucks. Thoughts?
They do, but I'll tell you what. Man, every once in a while you see a movie that you expect nothing from and you call it a revelation when it came out. Because Tiffany Haddish,
She's great.
first of all, the whole cast was great in Girls Trip. Ann and I literally went to go see that movie because we had nothing else to do that night. It's like, well, there's this comedy opened up and we went to go watch it and we almost died laughing so hard. And the whole thing about the grapefruit and the whole thing, I mean, it was one of the funniest things I've seen in years. It was so good. So again, with a lot of times with these comedies, I don't need you to, that story didn't need a sequel. I know, but it's one of those things where you don't need, it's not about the story to me. It's about I want to hang out with that collection of characters again for another 90 minutes.
And when a cast has that kind of chemistry and
Yeah.
makes you want to be their friends, makes you want to be a voyeur into their conversations and just kind of listen and laugh along, that's great. That's gold. And clearly, if they want to do a sequel and they want to work together again, that chemistry works, and that's going to be palpable for the next one.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I haven't loved Tiffany Haddish in just about anything else she's done since. After Party is working out really, really well.
She was good in The Card Counter, the new
You
Paul
know what?
Schrader
I
movie.
take it back. Yeah.
I just watched that.
And her
She's really
stand-up
good.
comedy is great.
Yeah.
Her stand-up comedy is great. Okay, what's next?
Andreas writes in, is there any chance to see an Iron Man variant in Doctor Strange 2?
It's possible. I mean, there's a lot of people talking. They're going to show Tom Cruise. I suppose. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't give two squirts of piss about variants and whatever.
I just
find
hope that
all
it doesn't
exhausting.
overshadow the plot.
Exactly.
Right.
That they're gonna it's instead of it's raining men, it's raining variants. And
It's
who are
raining
they?
cameos and blah. Yeah, but yes, it is possible it could happen. All right, what's next?
McKeel, great episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
No,
Ooh, burn.
Oh, McKeel.
Caleb
Ooh,
Lawrence
all right, what's
writing
next?
in. I still didn't understand why the Naboo Starfighter was a good substitute for the Razor Crest. There's barely any space in the new ship. It's like trading in an RV for a Prius.
Okay, well, no, it's like trading in an RV for a Corvette. And I think that's going to come into play at some point. Now, you're right. From a practicality standpoint, it makes no sense. He can't bring in any bounties. He can't transport anything. And it's in the Razor Crest, episode 1, Mandalorian season 1. He's got a bathroom. It's the first time in Star Wars history they showed a bathroom. He ain't got none of that. I guess.
Yeah,
he
it's
just,
like an ice maker thing.
yeah, he's just pee-pee in himself. Okay, whatever. So it is not a practical choice, but it's a sexy choice. And sometimes we choose the sexy over the practical.
It's what we talked about yesterday. Divorced dad or single dad who still has custody.
It's true. It's true. And he chose the Corvette, and I think that is going to play. That's going to be important. I think that at some point there's going to be something really epic where he needs that ship, whether it's in the next episode of Boba Fett or Mandalorian.
I want to see that thing strafing the ground from the air. That's what I want to see. I
It
want to
looks
see people running.
sweet.
I want to see him wrecking shop with that thing.
I agree. All right, what's next?
Nikita, hey John, I was surprised that hardly anyone, YouTubers, critics, or even sites like IndieWire, mentioned these 2 A-list heavyweight films released this year, even as an honorable mention. Want to know your... We'll find that the rest of that question at some point.
No, I found he's a little bit up. Keep going up. It passed Andreas, Andy, Kevin Cow, and then you get Nikita.
There we go. Honest thoughts on Legally Blonde 3 and the George Clooney, Julia Roberts rom-com Ticket to Paradise. And how likely are you to check them out?
I'll tell you what, I am absolutely going to check out the Julia Roberts, George Clooney thing for sure. Legally Blonde. I love Reese Witherspoon. I do. I have zero interest in Legally
I love
But
that
is Jennifer
first movie
Coolidge
though.
going to be in it?
Blonde. I have no
If
idea.
Jennifer Coolidge is in it, I'm in. I will
hot
see
dog real
anything.
bad.
Wow.
Let's hear from Aaron Dudas now. All right. Did Din Djarin miss an opportunity to ask for a Darksaber to help during that episode?
Nah. No, I don't think so. I don't think he really trusts. Look, yeah, he let Luke take him because I think he believes he has the best interest in mind for that. But I still don't think he wants to talk to a Jedi about. I think it's also probably be partially nervous that if he brings up the Darksaber, that the Jedi may just take it away from him.
Right.
So so no, I don't think he missed an opportunity there. All right, what's next?
Boo Brady 21. 5 minutes into episode 6, I said to myself, this feels like a Filoni episode. Yup. Can he write all Star Wars forever?
Well, it was John Favreau and Dave Filoni on this. Again, a little bit member berries for me at times, but overall, I mean, just it was so well done. And seeing that guy again, I just hope that we as audiences don't become idiocracy'd in the sense that the only thing that gets us is, ooh, shiny keys. Like, ooh, look, here's this cameo character. And we get all excited. Again, I'm cool with it in this episode because there was the underlying narrative and story and that Godfather feel, and I loved it. But I just hope we don't get too carried away with it.
I agree with you. I would like to see something new.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Andy, happy Lunar New Year. Got $480 this year, and yet I have a feeling it's going to be spent on your show in the long run, John.
I had no idea it was the new.
Yeah.
It's the year of the tiger.
The tiger.
But Bok Foy, I can't remember. There's the Happy New Year saying in Chinese, and Anne taught me how to say it yesterday because Anne is part Chinese. She's mostly Filipino, but she's part Chinese, and she was trying to teach me how to say it yesterday. I totally forgot. But it's the year of the tiger. which is why the
Ray know it?
Cincinnati
Can Ray
Bengals.
add it to the chat?
What's that?
I said, does Ray know it? Can Ray add it to the
Oh,
chat?
actually, probably Ray doesn't know it, but it is the year of the Tiger, which is why the Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
Do you think we're gonna hear a little Survivor the day of the Super Bowl on the?
Oh.
Eye of the tiger is the thrill of the fight.
Little Rocky going on there. All right, what's next?
Another one from Andy. Just watched WWE Raw this Monday with Ronda Rousey returning. Wow, she hasn't lost a beat because she's still uncharismatic and unconvincing as hell.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what.
Gung Hai Fat Choi.
What's that?
Gung Hai Fat Choi.
That's exactly what she said.
Thank you to Manderma.
So I'm going to completely disagree with you about Ronda Rousey. I mean, by the end of her first run in the WWE, she was taking bumps and selling them better than any other wrestler on their thing. Like, I remember when Flair was beating her over the back with this bamboo cane, like so hard, and you could see the welts developing on her back, but she was selling it and doing it. And when she's in there throwing strikes, nobody in the WWE comes anywhere close to looking as real as the way she does it. So, hey, she got great mic skills? No. But neither did Brock Lesnar for the first 20 years of his career. So I thought it was pretty good. All right, what's next?
Andy, one of two. In Eternals, we found out that our planet was pregnant with
Kevin Cal?
Oh, shoot, sorry. Kevin Cal. Boba Fett is basically world building to connect Clone Wars characters and storylines. They really should not make this show Book of Boba Fett.
I had this discussion with somebody yesterday. This thing is not world building. Covering ground that everybody already knows is not world building to me. Breaking new ground. Going to new undiscovered territories, breaking into types of stories and characters and worlds and things like that we have not yet visited, that is world building. Connecting the dots of things we've all already know, that's not world building. That's fan service. And as we've seen in Infinity War and Endgame, fan service can be a really great tool and used very effectively. And I'll say in the last couple of episodes, it's been used very effectively, but I believe there's a difference between fan service and world building. But that's just me. All right, what's next?
Now, Andy, in Eternals, we found out that our planet was pregnant with a Celestial this time. I have a counter theory. The Earth wasn't ever pregnant. It was just gaining weight and getting bigger and chunkier here and there. I guess this crazy theory makes me, puts on sunglasses, a fat earther.
Yeah.
Wow, no, that's
no
Oh,
drum
Andy.
shot for you on that one, Andy.
Andy.
No drum shot for you. All right, what's next?
Andres writes in, Ray, halo me out here. Just here to remind the millions and
And millions.
of the Campea Show fans what a treat it is to sit and listen and not feel crazy about our love for movies. Not like them mere mortals.
I will. I'm not going to tell specifics, but I did tell these guys. It's every once in a while, because look, I am a fucking nobody in a converted garage doing a fucking YouTube show. I sometimes forget there are people who watch this show. I know I'm talking about our community, of course, our community, but I sometimes forget. And we got an email yesterday from somebody that I was like, oh my God, they watched this show, and I sent it out to all of you guys.
That was pretty shocking.
Yeah, I was
it
like,
was-
okay.
It was really shocking. It was totally great. It was a wonderful, wonderful message.
Can you write back and have them send their phone number?
No, I did write back though. I did write back just to say, hey, thank you for what you're doing. You're bringing joy to a lot of people. And I just ended it there, right? But you forget, and when I say it was a name, I mean, it was a name.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God. And I like, since you get, and then sometimes I forget about the people who do watch this show sometimes. And a lot of people asking who it is. I will just tell you it's Star Wars related.
Yes.
That's all I will say. It is Star Wars related who wrote to us last night.
Never say, because by
Yeah.
not saying you're...
Yeah,
that's
Don't say it.
Yeah.
You're
I'm not gonna
classy.
say. But it was.
Don't
Well,
say
it's going to take a lot more than that for him to be classy. But
I'm so far away.
Oh, boy.
it was a joke.
I left that behind a long time ago. I abandoned classy for filthy a long time ago. So anyway, all right, what's next?
John Redcorn, which award show is more prestigious? Razzies, People's Choice Awards, Kids Show Awards?
Wait a second, where are we at?
Is that not where we're at?
Yeah, 'cause
we
no,
go
you're
over
right. You're right. You're
Nikita.
right. Yeah. No, there was Kevin Cow.
Oh, shoot, sorry. Kevin Cow, loved episode 6. I hope Boba is in episode 7. LOL.
I really do too, man. You got to start making this show about Boba Fett again. All right, what's next?
John Redcorn now. Which
Oh, it's
award
not.
show?
Oh, yeah, we already did
We already
Nikita. You're
did
right.
that one. Is more prestigious Razzies, People's Choice Awards, Kids Show Awards, Teen Choice Awards, or Golden Globes? Oh, you can drink at the Globes. You could drink at the Kids Awards, but it's
honestly, none of them have any real thing. But the only one that has a monochrome of credibility is the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the Golden Globes are a joke.
Come on,
but
dude.
Because
The
it's always
Kids'
been a-
Choice Awards. I want to win one day. Come on now.
You and Paul
Is that the one with the
Feig-
surfboard?
Yes.
Where do you even put that?
I think that's the Teen Choice Awards. Wait, no.
Or is it the Kids' Choice Awards?
Maybe
Which one
Kids.
did people get slimed at? That was the
That's
Nickelodeon.
Is that
something.
Kids?
That's called the AVN Awards.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
Don't know.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow. If I'd said a sponsor would call and cancel us.
That back. I regretted saying that the moment it came out of my mouth.
My comment about classy, can you guys just
I-
talk
you know,
about
hey.
booze for just a second?
I was saying, oh, like a bully's friend. Okay. I was,
All right, what's next?
okay. Joe Derp. What are the chances of us getting a Kenobi trailer for the Super Bowl?
Here's the thing.
Ooh,
I
that's interesting.
I'm going to say none. And the only reason I'm going to say none is because I don't know that they're going to make that kind of a marketing buy for a TV show. I think it's going to be movies. I don't think they're going to spend that kind of money on that. Now,
Is
something
the Super Bowl ABC though?
I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Somebody remind me. Is it ABC? Because I don't think it. I think it's Fox.
Oh.
I could be wrong. But somebody in the live chat help me and remind me. If it's ABC, which is of course owned by Disney, and if it's on ESPN, which is owned by Disney,
Yeah.
that definitely it's NBC.
Okay.
So I'm gonna guess no.
What about dropping an Obi-Wan trailer after Book of Boba Fett on the internet?
Yes. 100%. I think within a couple of weeks we're gonna get that
Yeah,
Boba Fett
I
trailer,
agree.
that Obi-Wan trailer. I mean, they should have given us an Obi-Wan trailer at the frickin' Disney Plus day that they had, but they didn't.
Well, isn't D23 coming up?
D23 is coming up too. So I don't know, but I think Book of Boba Fett's going to end and we're going to get an Obi-Wan trailer. I don't know that. Nobody's told me that. I'm just guessing. But I don't think we're going to get it at the Super Bowl. Any of you guys think we will?
I don't think so.
Not
All right.
for the $5 million.
Yeah, it's on NBC. They're
For a
not
30
gonna
second
do that.
spot. Yeah. All right. What's next?
Casey Mack, you know I love Kristen Bell, but I really think Netflix couldn't think of an even longer name than the woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window.
You know what, though? You'll never forget it. You hear that? You start to hear the name of that show?
That's like Scary Movie, right? I don't know
Yes,
what this
yes,
yeah. So
yes.
that's why it's so long. It's ridiculous.
But it's supposed to be good.
well, yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
excited.
her.
I love
Bell
her.
does not
Loved her
do
since
anything
Sarah
that's not
Marshall.
good.
I love her so much.
I never watched Veronica Mars, so I only really got introduced to her and Sarah
Veronica
Marshall.
Mars is great.
It's great.
Yeah,
I
my
didn't
friend
watch it
loves
till
it.
the pandemic, and I loved it.
A lot of people
Those
do.
3 seasons are
Yeah,
great.
they're
They were
great.
great.
All right, what's next?
Tim Plate, the reveal of Cad Bane was everything the reveal of the Washington Commanders was not.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Cool, something virtually everyone can get excited about, and a surprise. Can John Favreau buy my football team?
I had to do a double take when I saw that the Washington Football Club, they waited 2 years to give themselves a new name, and they came up with the Commanders.
Well, that's their old name.
I know but it doesn't make it any better. It's like saying, yeah, but peacock is what the symbol has been. It doesn't matter. It's still a dumb name.
Yeah.
That is a bad name, and dull colors too.
And what's
like-
their mascot going to be?
Probably
like-
the general from the car insurance company.
Yeah.
That little green general. He's gonna be their. Okay, let's keep going. What's next?
The man with the master plan. Good job to the team. Chemistry has been great, and Chris is a good addition. Hey, thanks, man.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I know she was on the show prior, but I just started in 2020. That's fine. You can compliment me whenever you want. And Rob, I want that
As
Charizanable
Nobble
figure.
The which one?
As Nobble?
Oh, you can't have that.
What is that?
Char, the red comet
Oh,
from Gundam.
Yes.
From the first Gundam series.
I didn't recognize the word.
You can't have it. No.
All right. So listen, right now, we're not done yet. We still got a few more to get through here, but we have to say goodbye to Chris Carr right now.
Oh, thanks,
because
John.
she actually has some Hollywood acting stuff she has to go do. Bullshit
Yeah.
that I keep hearing from these two. I'm in a movie. I'm doing a TV show. I have a baby. Like all these stupid,
That one's
ridiculous
never me.
excuses.
Wait a minute. I'm not going to get
All
behind
these
any of that.
ridiculous
That-
excuses. I
His
keep
name
hearing
is
from-
Logan,
You're
and
attacking
he's
their
a fully
gender.
grown man, John.
Anyway, Chris, thanks for being here. Just quickly, where can people follow you and your stuff
You
online?
can follow me at actor Chris Carr on both Twitter and Instagram.
All
Please
right.
do so.
So get out of here. Go do your thing. We'll see you again tomorrow. All right, guys. But we still have more to do. We still have more to go. So I'm going to turn off her camera and I'm going to turn on mine. There we go. And we're going to get through the last. We still got about a few things here to get through. So let's keep going here. That was the man with the plan. Okay. Jose Ramirez writes, Bane versus Fett season finale next week. Yes, but it would have been a lot better if they had built up to it instead of just, hi, I'm Cad Bane. I'm here now. See you in the finale. Like if it would have been better for that. Lucky BX writes, last night I watched one of my favorite movies, Lucky Number 11. I really like Lucky Number 11.
I love that movie.
Great ensemble cast and a plot twist. What did you guys think of that? I don't know that I'll call it a classic. But you got through Ben Kingsley in there, and I like this movie.
I do too.
It's got a little bit of Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yes, it
it.
does.
What did you think of the movie?
I loved it. I mean, yeah, it's right up my alley. So, but the cast is terrific.
That's not a Guy Ritchie movie, is it?
No.
Okay, but it's got
a feel of it.
It definitely
yeah.
feels like, but you know that it's funny. Whenever that comes up, I always think I got to go watch that again. I don't own that movie, and I should own it.
By the way, I got to get now that Chris isn't there, we need to fill her spot.
Do you want me to move over?
No. Oh, I missed us. Oh, I tried to bring in Henry, but we lost his picture. Okay. Anyway, let's keep going. Next up, we've got Andreas Morin, who writes, I can't believe you don't include Dragon Ball Evolution in the trifecta for worst movies of all time. That is just simply trash. And welcome back, Chris, you rock. Listen, it's terrible. It is terrible. It's not terrible on the level of Battlefield Earth or the Highlander 2 or Catwoman. I mean, it's awful, but it's not that
I have to say, though, that Battlefield Earth does have one of my favorite things in it, where it just cuts to a space exterior of a planet, and it says on top, the planet Cyclo.
That movie is so bad.
Because psychologists are bad.
Yeah, of course, you got to know everything that behind
the reason why that
of
movie was made.
Yep.
And if you know a lot about John Travolta...
Yep, that's all you need to know.
I read that book, 1,200 pages, when it first came out.
Oh, really? Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth.
Yeah.
Oh,
all right. Next up, we got Ryan Lohner, who writes, I'm curious if they'll reference Fennec and Bane's fight in Bad Batch, which was easily the best thing in the show. They've already been showing there's oftentimes really not a lot of continuity, whereas everything was supposed to be like not Cad Bane, I'm sorry, Cobb Vanth. They've already broken canon with Cobb Vanth in season 2 of Mandalorian. It broke with what we saw of him in the novels and the book. So how consistent they're going to stay with that? I mean, or Black Chrysanthemum, they've already kind of broke some of his history already too. So it'll be interesting to see if they do that, Ryan. All right, next up. Anime 38 writes, who sends in like a $20 super chat. Thank you, Anime 38, for supporting us on that level, man. He writes in, yesterday I let you know Tom Hanks ended the movie on the Trade Center, not a bridge, and you guys disagreed. Chef Pleasures, please Google Mazes and Monsters, Tom Hanks Trade Center. He's brave because those rails were low. I'll have to look it up again, but I do not remember that being at the World Trade Center. Now, granted, it's been 25 years, maybe 30 since I've seen Mazes and Monsters, but I don't think it was the World Trade Center. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and that's fine. It's been a long, long time since I've seen it, so maybe you're absolutely right about that, Anime. We'll find out. All right, next up, Wiley Todd writes, hey, John and crew. I was wondering if you guys think needle drops are more... Let me try this again. I was wondering if you guys think needle drops are important to a film or TV. I'm currently working as a music supervisor intern. Just wanted to ask. Like the actual sound effect of...
No. What they say about needle drops or source cues, they're using external pieces of music. Like as opposed...
I've never heard the phrase
as opposed to score. So if a needle drop is when they say, "Oh, we're going to put the like in a Quentin Tarantino movie." He only uses needle drops. He
Got
only
it.
uses,
Okay.
You know,
like
and James Gunn,
pre-existing music that already exists out there in the world, saying, "Oh, we're going to use So
like what Peacemaker has been.
Yes, those are needle drops.
Oh, okay. Do I think needle drops are important? Well, I mean, listen, the one thing about using existing real life music is it makes it feel a little bit more grounded. We identify it with a little bit more with our own experiences. You were just talking yourself about when Peacemaker dropped a certain song in episode 4. It's like it just brought you the feels and whatever.
I want to give a shout out to that profession, music supervision. You know, music supervisors, what music supervisors can do is almost what great casting directors do when you're looking for a role. They great casting directors know actors, but great music supervisors, what their job is to find you music, both new music you might never have heard, or get you classic films or classic album oriented rock you might have forgotten about, and then they go get the rights. They take care of all of that, and great music supervisors can really help your project.
Indeed. All right, next up, Andres. Okay, Giannakopoulos writes, it is true. Recently, Willem Dafoe said that he has an idea for Joker 2 to play along with Joaquin Phoenix. Who cares? Actor somewhere says, I've got an idea.
Put me
irrelevant.
in, coach.
I mean,
Put me in your next $1 billion movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think I read that headline somewhere that Willem Dafoe says he's got an idea. That's who cares. It really has no relevance to anything. So no, it doesn't really. But I'm going to guess, Andres, is probably true. But again, it has no relevance on anything. All right, next up, Andy writes, if HBO Max had been around when Fox canceled Lucifer, would HBO Max have picked it up instead of Netflix?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think. Has HBO ever picked up a canceled show from somebody else?
I don't.
I don't think they
I
have.
don't think so.
No,
Yeah,
so
they like
probably
to
not.
have their own thing, and yeah, Netflix also. I mean, I don't know what HBO Max's global reach is, but as popular as Lucifer was domestically, Lucifer's international appeal is really where.
The number one stream show of 2021.
Yeah, I mean, it is massive.
And you're in it.
overseas. I am in it.
You are in Lucifer.
I am
There you
in
go.
it.
So yeah. So no, I don't think HBO would have picked it up. All right, next up. Sully writes, Bollywood recommendation. My name is Khan. Tagline. My name is Khan and I am not a terrorist. Takes place during the events of 9/11 and it spoke volumes to me. Well, that sounds deep.
That sounds really good.
I mean, it sounds very different from Three Idiots, which a lot of people of our viewers in India have been recommending that we check out. That sounds very, very different. Thanks for putting that on the radar, Sully. Appreciate that. And then, of course, we just had people sending in Super Chat badges to be supportive, including James McDonald, Donald Mex, Stash Daddy, Iggy, Leo Milmet, but also a special shout out to Bartley Shrivner, who sent in like two $50 Super Chat badges just to be supportive to the channel. Bartley, thank you so much for that, man. That's incredibly generous of you. Appreciate that very much for supporting the content you like to watch. So thank you for that, man. And with that said, that'll do it.
Dakota Walker says we missed his question.
Who?
Dakota Walker? Did we miss that?
I'm looking through right now. I'm seeing no question from Dakota Walker.
Okay.
So, I mean, if, yep, I haven't seen it. I'll scroll for another 3 or 4 seconds, but
DM us, Dakota.
yeah, I mean, sorry, there's nothing there from Dakota Walker at all. So sorry about that. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and making this show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys sending in those comments and questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. A little bit of a reminder, if you guys are watching this show but not live, so you can't send in a live question, the good news is we do the show called Mailbag, where you can send in a question using the tip link that's down in the description of this video, or just click on it or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. And as a matter of fact, there's another episode of Mailbag today that's going to be going up a little bit later today. So keep your guys' eyes open for that. I want to thank, of course, the producer of Agent Cody Banks, writer, director. He's got stuff on Netflix and he's worked on Lord of the Rings. And God, I just lose track of like Saturn Award winning creator Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people follow you online?
It's a long road to travel, let me tell you. You can find me on Instagram at Burnett or Robert Meyer Burnett. You can find me on Twitter at Burnett RM, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work. And John, I have to say, I really enjoyed our first mailbag show, and I'm looking forward to doing more.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun doing Mailbag.
That was really fun.
Of course, also join us. I want to thank, you remember her from Mad Men, Flash, Blacklist, Pan Am, the Astronaut Wives Club,
King Richard.
King Richard, which is, of course, up for Best Ensemble at the SAG Awards. Spartacus. And, of course, her triumphant work in The Anniversary. We've got...
And I will be on The Rookie with Nathan Fillion
That's right.
on February 27th.
So just in a couple of weeks, you're going to be on The Rookie, which is amazing. Aaron Cummings and, of course, Joey Bishop. Where can people follow you online?
You can check us out on Instagram at Aaron L. Cummings. Come visit.
And, of course, you guys can follow me on social media on Instagram or on, what's the other one? Oh, yeah, Twitter. Simply at John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.